Time for Dirt and Sprague on Portland Sports Leader 1080. The Fan, good morning. It is I hope, happy Tuesday.
What is happening? How could you not be happy when ESPN has had a countdown to the draft on their screen since yesterday? What would I do today if I didn't know that there were 58 hours and 59 minutes until the NFL draft begins?
If you had to power rank what ESPN cares about, the NFL is far and away number one.
Without a doubt this week. It's not even close.
The SEC is number two.
Ooh, SEC football, Nico's story, probably number two.
The NFL draft, number three. Then the NBA.
Yeah.
Then
probably Major League Baseball, then the Stanley Cup.
No, it's
I think
the
it's
NHL.
I think it's the playoffs.
They told baseball.
That is true. They did tell baseball to go pound sand. And they actually had their broadcasters at the ESPN games last night. So I'll give them credit for that. They were actually on scene.
They were in Winnipeg.
To call the game. I thought nobody could get to Winnipeg after what TNT did the other night.
Yeah, I mean, some broadcasters care and some don't.
Yeah, that's the way it works, Bob. That's the way it works. 58 hours, 58 minutes now. We'll give you an update throughout the course of the show today. The countdown is on to the NFL draft.
I don't know if it was awkward, if you guys saw this, but at the beginning of that Knicks-Pistons game, they showed McEnroe and Paul Rudd courtside.
I did not see that.
With the head of Warner Brothers.
David Zasloff, and they basically showed the three talking, and then Ian Eagle was like, and there's the head of the Warner Brothers studio, Zasloff, who's done an exceptional job. I'm like, he just choked away the NBA off of Turner.
He just lost TNT, the NBA.
We're going to say he had one of the dumbest we don't care about basketball. And then he was like, oh, I care about basketball.
Wait, this is the only reason people come to our channel outside of the NCAA tournament? It's reruns of Charmed or this? This is what I got, and now I'm out of that. And I'm losing inside the NBA where Shaq may or may not have crapped his pants on live TV.
Boy, that was something.
That was a hell of a scene last night. The sports were sportsing last night. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I thought both NBA games were good. The Stanley Cup playoffs were outstanding last night.
Stanley Cup playoffs
they were electric.
They were electric. How could you miss it? And Shaq crapped his pants on live TV, and they killed Billy Ray Bates.
Billy Ray Bates did die last night.
Billy Ray Bates died,
but
and
he's back to life.
They brought him back.
In the
he is risen.
In the spirit of Easter, he is risen from his death on Inside the NBA.
How dare they?
Swag's all-time favorite Blazer.
Loved Billy
That's
Ray
a low
Bates.
blow that just is not going to be allowed around here.
Every show in America
We've all done it.
kills somebody at some point.
We've all done it.
Only to come back and be like,
happens to the best of them.
It's like, wait a minute. Are we sure he's dead right now? I don't think so.
Didn't we just kill somebody the other day?
We did.
I can't remember what show or who it was.
I think it was me.
I think Swag killed somebody.
And I was, yeah.
Was it
Who was it?
Nike guy? We did the book. We talked about the book. Air. Why am I blanking on his
Sonny
name?
Vaccaro.
Sonny Vaccaro. I think pretty sure Swag killed Sonny
That
Vaccaro.
was me.
And then I think the response immediately was, wait a minute. I think he's still alive.
I was pretty confident he was still alive.
Pretty sure he's still alive.
Yeah.
And then we Googled it and found out, indeed, he was still alive.
Well, you remember when we had Armin Katayan on, who wrote the book on Sonny Vaccaro?
Yes.
He played audio of an interview he did with Sonny Vaccaro, and it was like 4 months ago. So when he
like
said
October,
that, I was
man.
like, what?
That was at the end of 2024. He was still here. That was Christmas time.
You know, somebody I used to kind of kill off in my mind. You know, you don't mean these things in a mean way.
You haven't seen him in a while. You're not sure what's going on.
Bob Barker might have been dead 4 different times in my mind.
Yeah, Bob Barker lasted a long time.
Because once he was done with the show, he was done
That
with
was
the
it.
business.
He
was out.
He went Johnny Carson. When I retire, you're not going to see me anymore.
I know it's going to be a much bigger deal because of his status at one point of his life, but this is a little bit of Joe Biden.
Yeah, there's something.
Like,
there.
if I don't hear anything in 2 years, I'm just going to kind of naturally forget.
Just assume.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already there, kind of already thinking that.
Well,
did you see their Easter picture, by the way?
Okay. It's uncomfortable.
It's a little weird.
Whoever's running that social media account, it's uncomfortable.
They had an Easter picture with a family together, and he is 100% photoshopped in that photo.
Really?
Dude, go look.
Is it on his main account?
It's on his main account. Go look. Happy Easter to all. Everybody's in, like, normal Easter clothes, sitting on stairs, and then he's in the background in a suit.
He tweets.
And he's in a suit, and he's in a standing position, but he's at the top of the stairway. And it's like, that's not He's 100% photoshopped in that picture, which is
No, he's in it.
dude. He's not in it. He's
in
not
it.
sitting. He's at the top of the stairs.
His
That is
hand
not
is
a,
on the back of,
It's not
I
a-
think, a grandson's neck.
Where are his legs? Show me where his legs
Hey,
are.
he's
Did he
crouched
cut a
down.
hole? He's crouching down at 97 years old. That man can't crouch down. He can barely walk.
I think he's like 82.
He can't. There's no crouch. He's not getting into a catcher's pose. He's not going knee on the ground, taking balls in the dirt.
What if this was Photoshop?
I just don't get what the need is for that. Like, you don't need to have a social media post for
politicians,
Easter.
dude.
He's
What's the
done.
need
His
of
career's
any of
over.
this?
Why do we need it? Hey, thank you for wishing me a
I-
happy Easter, politician.
I don't know. Why does JD Vance wear eyeliner? I don't know.
I wouldn't have had a good Easter if I didn't get a happy Easter wish from my
why
favorite
why is Nancy
politicians.
Pelosi stock trading? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
These people don't care about actually helping anybody.
I'm pretty sure he's photoshopped in that picture. That's a
Well, we're 100% confident he's not tweeting from his account.
well. He definitely does not tweet.
Like,
That
who
much
tweets
I
He's got
know.
handlers for
He's
that.
got people.
Jill and I are disgusted by the attacks of the Shapiro family in their home during the night of Passover. Joe Biden's not running to his laptop and typing that out.
Oh, I got to tweet that out. Got my thoughts ready to go. Fire them away.
Jill.
Pew, 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 pew.
I got to tweet.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Joe Biden's never said that out loud. I got to tweet.
I got a tweet. I got tweets.
Corn Pop back in Scranton. Joey. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. It's going to be a nice day today.
Were you guys excited about your hockey? I saw Ovechkin had a game winner against the Canadiens.
Hard to believe. First time he's had an overtime winner in a Stanley Cup playoff game in 20 seasons.
20 years, yeah.
And they've gone to the
Lot of
playoffs,
playoffs.
a lot.
lot of playoff appearances.
How many overtime games have they been in?
It's a great trivia question.
40-something he's been in.
Wow. And that was his first
That
one?
was his first overtime winner.
There you go.
Yeah, the game that I mean, a lot of people gave up on was Edmonton, LA at the end of the night.
Yeah, that was 4-1 going into the
4-1.
third
Yeah.
period. It
And
ended up
then-
being
And then
6-5.
Connor
He did.
McDavid did his thing.
Connor McJesus did Connor
Well, they
McJesus things.
lost, so he didn't.
They ended up losing, yeah.
Well, he
Hey,
doesn't play defense.
You can't play goalie.
In
so.
the NBA, I'm told that the best player do your thing, have a clutch gene, win the game.
Are we going win-loss stat, not a quarterback thing, not a star NHL player thing?
How many players are on the ice at one time for a team? Not
5.
counting the goalie.
Not
Five
counting the-
skaters and a
5, yeah.
goalie.
5 skaters and a goalie?
Yes, 3 forwards, 2 defensemen.
Get a better clutch gene. Get back, play defense. Why don't we start doing this to hockey players?
Yeah, maybe passed up the game-winning shot. Didn't take it. No, didn't want that puck in the crunch time.
Can I tell you guys a truth bomb? I'm watching that Nugget Clipper game like I am just in Valhalla. It's just
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable.
That was a great playoff
game.
game.
And I'm watching this, and the game ends, and I'm not going to lie, these damn television shows have done it in my mind for about a second and a half. I went, come on, man, you got to be clutch.
When Jokic turned it over,
He was pretty bad at the end of that game.
he was not great.
But, like, that was my
overall,
takeaway.
it wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't at the peak of his powers last night, and he did turn it over in the final possession. And then they still ended up getting multiple good looks.
Well, but
They still had like 2 or 3 shots on that last possession.
I ask you this, in a sport, in a league largely black, how many white players are ever in a position to be criticized? European or not, how many players?
Yeah, there's not a lot of them. There's
Right?
not a lot of them.
He's one of the very few that like is so important to his team
Yeah.
that if Jokic is a Johnson and he's black, it's probably a lead story that he choked last night.
Probably.
But he's a Jokic. He's a little boring.
well, he also won a title 2 years ago. So how long is the
We're
statute
killing
of
Giannis now.
How long?
Giannis is having Shaq numbers, and it's like, well, his
I mean,
team
we shouldn't.
sucks. He
That's
should be
just-
better.
That's just stupid. People are stupid.
Well, I'm just telling you what the narratives are.
we shouldn't be doing any of that.
And Giannis is from Greece.
Why do we have a statute of limitations on
Nigeria.
championships now? Like it's no longer good enough just to win. You got to win every year. If you don't win every year, you're a bum. Is that where we're at now? It's let alone not winning at all.
Well, that was my takeaway going into the Masters. Like, I understood, and Rory clearly cared, but the dude had 4 titles, and we acted as if he hadn't accomplished anything.
Yeah, I finally got to confront Joe Fisher about that on Friday at the company party. I hadn't said anything to him. I let it brew, let it simmer for a week.
He should have been coming to us.
He had to. I made him. He
The
sheepishly
following
came
Monday,
over
Tuesday,
to me.
and been like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I apologize. I'm an idiot.
Like, I
sandwich.
honestly don't want to see another text about Rory the rest of his career.
No,
Career Grand Slam, 6th player to do that.
he walked up with a sheepish look and said, "Well, I guess you were right." I was like, "You're damn right I was right, Joe. You're damn right I was." And then he said, "Well, it's about damn time." I said, "About damn time for what? Him to win his 5th major? To win a career Grand Slam?" It's not Phil Mickelson. He's won before.
Yeah.
Does that not count for anything anymore?
What did he say?
Because it happened. Well, it's been 11 years. Yeah, who cares? He's only 35. I said, what are you going to do if he wins 3 in a row? He said, that's not going to happen. I said, well, okay, what are you going to say if it does?
That's
Joe?
just such an odd position to take. Like,
why?
Well, you were right. Okay, I was right about what? Telling you a great golfer is great at golf?
He's won a lot of tournaments over the last 10 years. I'm not sure if you're aware of this.
What a hot take by Dirt.
He's had a lot
Rory's
of cracks.
great at golf.
That's great.
He's going to probably win
And I
another
went on
major.
and said
God.
he's probably the favorite. He could very easily win. Well, not
Yeah,
easily.
Dirt outlined the majors.
3.
Yeah.
Because
The
it's
courses
at
and the way
Quail
it lines
Hollow
up.
at PGA where he's won 4 times
Dominates.
previously.
Yep.
And then the Open Championships in his backyard at Royal Portrush.
Even the U.S. Open is at a course where if you're a bomber of the golf ball,
Yeah,
you
no,
will
he's
be
only
rewarded.
played there once
Only
and he
played there
missed
once.
the cut.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have a lot of history at that course.
Now, the
but
Open Championship's in his backyard.
Yeah,
in
that's
his
at Royal
backyard.
Portrush.
It's in Northern Ireland, man.
The U.S. Open is at Oakmont up in Pennsylvania.
But
the
see,
year.
like, there's a part of me that I'm sitting here with this discussion where I'm like, I rail against this whole, like, well, the star had 30-some points and had 4 bad plays, so it's his fault his team lost, when I look at that roster. But I'm also on the other side where players I've liked for a long time, they get that.
They do.
But he doesn't. Unless it's Kendrick Perkins. But nobody takes Kendrick Perkins seriously.
No, nobody takes him seriously.
So, like,
nobody cares what Kendrick Perkins has to say.
There's a little bit of part of me that wants the lead today to be like, Jokic clutch gene question mark on the graphic.
Has
on the
he
bottom.
lost it? He had it 2 years. He had the clutch gene. Now it's gone.
But just because I have to see this day to day with like 7 other NBA players.
It's so stupid. I don't know why we have to do this in sports.
Wait for the Thunder to lose in the second or Western Conference Finals,
that'll
and it's going
happen.
to be SGA, really a leader?
He's not the guy. He's not. Can he lead a team to a championship? I don't think he can. He's only 22 years old. And he's an MVP of the league. I don't think he can do it, man.
God,
I don't think he can get there.
it's ridiculous.
You know, there's a more nuanced way to talk about sports than clutch genes and, did somebody who had a triple-double in a playoff game choke?
Happy birthday to Jack Nicholson, 88 years old.
88?
Wow.
Talk about somebody that people might accidentally be killing off in their lives.
He's still hanging around. I feel like we're going to see him every once in a while.
He doesn't
I know
act
they don't
anymore.
see him at Laker games anymore.
Does he
so
not
I
go to Laker
assume-
games anymore?
Not as
Very
much.
rarely.
He'll go
Okay.
to like once a
I
year.
assumed he did. Well, now we're not going to see him anymore.
He's like, he's got cane. He needs a cane to walk around now.
Yeah.
You're near. You're near the finish line.
That's going to be a sad one for me.
That's going to be
Yeah.
a really sad
He was one of the first movie stars I was introduced to in my life.
I always do that whenever somebody dies. You always dive into their catalog, whether it be a musician or an actor. I've done that with Val Kilmer the last couple of weeks. Like Tombstone was on Amazon Prime the other night. I was like, all right, we're going to watch Tombstone. I haven't seen it in a couple of years.
Wish I could watch that.
Phenomenal movie. Just give your money to the devil. It's very easy to do. It's only like $19.99 a month, or I actually don't even know how much it is because it
Don't
just comes
worry.
out every month.
NFL and NBA will be back next year, and I'll be stuck going, damn it.
You can't watch the Panthers and the Falcons? What the hell's the matter? We're going to talk about that for an hour on Friday.
I'm more worried about
Take
the
your
NBA
job
games.
seriously.
I want to see the NBA games.
Yeah, the NBA, and they're going to be on Peacock, too. You know they're going to put a ton of games on Peacock because Peacock is hemorrhaging money, and they need all the eyeballs they can get.
Make good shows.
I mean, that would help, not just Office reruns. That
I
would
can't
help.
name a show on the Peacock Network.
Neither can I. I think they just air things that have already been aired.
Apple TV is killing it.
Yeah,
right
they're
now.
probably. I think it's more like the SNL archive on Peacock and
Yeah.
stuff like that people go seek out.
Yeah, I can go on YouTube and find
Exactly.
You can
plays.
find
That's the
anything you
problem.
want. Go
Yeah.
watch 30 Rock. Yeah, I did 10
Yeah.
years ago. I've already seen the show. Give me something new, all right? What are we
Those
doing?
also rerun
Yeah.
on cable.
all the time.
All the
Premier
time.
League Soccer not holding it up for the old Peacock there.
No.
I don't want to watch those.
I'm not up at 4 o'clock in the morning on
Exactly.
Sundays. I don't want to wake up that early.
Leicester and
They got
Leicester
relegated.
got relegated.
Queens Rangers, Queens Park Rangers.
But to the point of catalogs, when Jack passes, that'll be one you dive in. That'll be one where you remember, like, God, he had so many bangers over the years.
Let me ask you, what is your favorite role of his?
Oh God,
Let's get ahead of his
Wow.
death.
ahead of it, do the funeral now. Pay our homage to him before he
What
passes.
is the one role with him that just stands out a little more than all the others?
Boy,
I
Colonel
know.
Jessup's hard to.
Really?
I love that movie, but the
You love that movie?
yeah,
I
that
find that
movie's
movie
great.
rather boring until the key dialogue
oh
parts.
no, there's a lot of stuff going on. But I
Guys
think his-
died. We're walking around a military naval base, and
I mean, how could we forget Mars Attacks? That might be my go-to.
the
Mars Attacks
Joker,
underrated
the
movie.
Joker,
It is.
Yeah.
I think I have to go The Departed. I'm looking through his catalog. I think I got to go The Departed.
Departed?
I think I go The Departed. I love that movie to begin with.
Ah.
Don't watch it very often because it's very
Yeah.
long. It's one where you got to commit like half a Saturday. The Shining is great, but I think I'd
Shining's
rather
great.
watch The Departed over that.
As good as it gets.
As good as it gets is a good
mine.
movie.
As good as it gets is mine. He is.
Chinatown's kind of an underrated
Yeah.
movie.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
What a catalog. Just scrolling through his movies, it's wild.
There's movies you forget about.
There's a ton that you forget about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Final Answer, The Departed. That's what I would watch.
Hmm.
Some of the stories about him in that movie too are wild. Of like him trying to actually intimidate actors in the scene where he pulls a gun on Leo
Mm-hmm.
and they're in the coffee shop or whatever when he thinks he's the rat. He pulled an actual gun on him because he wanted to see the fearful reaction. Like that wasn't in the script. He pulled a gun on him in the scene. Basically just kept going, and Leo had to go with the flow.
He is somebody. He's pretty wild.
Pretty crazy dude.
He's an interesting cat.
He's got a couple of screws loose up there.
Well, I think you kind of have to do that job.
I think so too.
You're an artsy fartsy guy. You got to get lost into different characters. I think you got to be a little weird to be.
He's
an
definitely
actor.
artsy fartsy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Happy birthday, 88.
88 years young.
Does he get to 90?
Yeah, why not? Let's not kill him off yet. He's got 2 more years in him.
Yes is a plus 250.
I like those odds. I'll take those odds.
No is a plus 120.
He's got Luka Doncic now on his favorite basketball team. I think that's a driving force for him for another 2 years. See what the Lakers can do.
Get one more title before
One
he,
more title in the next 2
goes
years.
to the upper room.
And then say, see you later. It was a great run.
Well, we got a lot to get to today. Sports was sports, as Dirt said. We got the mail sack. It's a mail sack Tuesday. And then we got Ian Fess at 7:30.
7:30, yes.
Okay, 7:30, Daily Ticker, Ian Fess. What will the Seahawks do with their NFL draft pick? The Seattle Mariners, we buying what's happening right now with the old M's? Huh?
I mean, yeah, how could you not? This is their year.
And is Seattle going to get an NBA team announced this summer? So we'll talk with Ian Fess coming up, 7:30 Daily Ticker, Dirt and Sprague. It is good to be with you. Let's get it going next on The Fan.
Hey, safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping up since my mama stayed in them apartments. Regardless.
You guys want Wingstop?
I mean, it doesn't sound terrible right now. I could pound some wings at 6. Don't challenge me.
Never
again.
turn down wings.
I never turn down wings.
So this commercial, this is becoming the T-Mobile
This is
SGA
the new one.
Chet commercial now, right? It's playing every break. It's Jalen Green eating a wing.
Yeah.
I'm wondering every time I see him,
I'm the biggest. I'm the largest.
how many people in America have no idea who that player is?
I would say a large portion of the country.
And how many people within Wingstop are nervous that they're going to lose in 5 and he's doing largely nothing?
They need a win. They need a game 2 win badly, and a big game 2 from Jalen Green. I think the first 10 times I saw the ad, I didn't click to me who the hell it was. I thought it was just a random guy eating wings.
You didn't say
No,
tall-looking guy
I
eating
just-
a wing, signing autographs?
Normal-looking dude
Props to
signing eating
Jalen
wings.
Green's agent for
He
making
got that deal.
happen.
I didn't know he was Wingstop material. I was pretty impressed by that.
This song has been stuck in my head for 2 weeks.
Just can't get it out.
I'm just like literally doing chores by myself during the day, and I'm
Start
like,
singing.
I'm a beast. I'm the largest.
I don't even know who this is. Who is this?
Big extra plug.
Big Extra Plug
I think so.
is the name of the.
I don't
okay.
know. You know what? Don't quote
He's
me
a
on
big extra plug.
that. It's big XTHA plug.
Okay.
I'm not up to date on current music.
That's a
Don't
big
judge
extra
me.
plug. I like that.
I don't know.
I listen to the same songs from like 15 years ago, man.
I do. I need to update my catalog a little bit. I don't have enough new music in there. Then I find myself like listening to stuff and I'm like, I'm not in the mood for this and I'm not sure what I'm in the mood for. I need new artists. Maybe Big Extra Plug will be my guy.
Well, all my new music is like Pink Pony Club by Chapel Roan. I have 2 daughters. And I'm like literally in the car singing along
That's
with
true.
her.
That's true. But most car music for me now is like,
I'll be a drag queen who moves west.
You're damn right. Let's turn on the Elmo album. I'm Elmo. That's what I'm listening to in the car right now. Or a Bluey theme song just to get the kid to not freak out.
Okay, we have a listener question I actually want to get to, an early mail sack that I want to get to. I'm going to ask you guys. And we'll get to the Clipper Nugget game was extraordinary. We had some awful news happen to us
A little
yesterday
sack
locally.
tease here early in the show.
A little bit of a sack preview. Okay?
Early sack on the day.
But before I get to that, I wanted to revisit the Shaq leaving live on air situation.
Oh.
So if you missed this on
I
TNT,
missed that.
Yeah. So let me lay this out. They're live back at the studio. There's Kenny, Ernie, Chuck, and Shaq. Right.
So is this in between games?
I think this was at the end of the night. I think it was post game after.
Oh, so this is-
I turned it on. I didn't
Yeah.
see it live.
This
When
was
the
like
game was
right
over.
after
So
the game.
they've been there for 6-7 hours.
Yeah, they've been there. Yeah.
Eating too much Wingstop.
So they're there and they're hanging out, and all of a sudden, Shaq just basically indicates, I gotta go. So Shaq gets up on live television.
Middle of a segment.
And he starts doing the walk. We all know it's like the clinched walk of gotta kind of shuffle, jog, walk, kind of get my way there. And he's on live TV, and the camera's kind of following him, and he goes through a big door, and then they go back to the studio, and they're just making fun of him. Like, oh, my God, like Candle. And, I see this, and, like, all I'm thinking about, aside from just how hysterical it is that on live television, Shaq has to take a dump.
We've all been there.
Yeah, like, you can get away with it, though. Dirt gets screwed.
Yeah.
Dirt has to wait till the commercial break.
That's my biggest fear doing play-by-play.
Is having to take a dump in the middle of it. Yeah.
It's like I can throw in an extra commercial break if I need to. You
go at halftime or something. You can cut in a quarter if you need to, but in the middle of a game.
But if I'm
fourth quarter, 5 minutes to
very
go.
careful about how far out in front of the game I eat, what I eat is like that's my biggest fear.
Yeah, you got to know what makes your stomach upset.
Exactly.
Not even test the limits of it.
I take a pre-gamer before everything I do in life.
Yeah.
Everything I do.
That's accurate.
Am I playing golf? Am I hosting a radio show? Am I going for a walk? Whatever I do in life, I'm making sure I'm taken care of.
So this is where I was thinking. Regular toilet, or does Shaq get a custom toilet?
No chance he fits on a regular toilet. That has to be so uncomfortable.
They have to have something, especially, I mean, Charles isn't small either.
It's a massive human
No,
being.
but he's like 6'5" now because he's shrunk.
Yeah, but he's 350.
He's a big boy.
Well, I don't think it's a weight problem with toilets. I'm just talking about the circumference of a toilet.
Yeah, there's no chance
Shaq.
he can poop on a normal toilet. He has to
Plus,
have
there
larger
has to be
toilets.
something that's raised up higher too. He can't.
I mean, imagine seeing Shaq on a regular toilet.
On a regular it's just not.
I don't think it physically.
No, that's
Works.
that's an SNL bit, is what that is.
I feel kind of big on a toilet sometimes.
Just
I'll be on a toilet.
It's like
and be okay.
it'd be like putting him on like a toy toilet in a
like
dollhouse
Buddy the
or
Elf,
something.
Will Ferrell up at the North Pole.
That's one of those toilets.
It has to be like that.
He's sitting
right?
in one of those stalls where his knees
Yeah.
are like up to his head because he has to crouch down so far.
So do you custom build a toilet for Shaq?
I mean,
or
that's, if you're a good agent,
are there
that's in your deal.
extralargetoilets.com?
I'm going to imagine, especially a studio like that where
That'd
you've
be
got
great if that was the website.
XLtoilets.com?
XLtoilets.com. Where do you go to
There
get
you
your
go.
toilet, Shaq? XLtoilets.com.
Well, then who would you contact and be like, we need extra porcelain?
I mean, there's got to be
Yeah.
somebody. Just go buy an extra toilet. I bet his agent negotiated that deal. If I'm coming in there because he's the only one of the guys that does the Tuesday nights too.
Yeah.
Yep.
He does Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'm going to be there twice a week for long stretches of time. You're getting a toilet that's the adequate size for me. Even I have this sometimes. Like there are different size toilets. You ever poop on like a smaller size toilet that's not in a good spot? It's a really uncomfortable feeling.
I literally just found a Reddit page.
For large toilets.
No, it says, can Shaq use a normal sized toilet? 7 years ago.
And did somebody do a full investigation of this?
It's like 180 comments.
I mean, at this point, I'm kind of curious, just like the visual of it. Like the side by side, him sitting on, how weird does a normal sized toilet look when he's sitting on it?
This guy says, I'm 6'5", 338. I take 4 a day. And I'm a little uncomfortable on a regular toilet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're just a generally large human being, it's uncomfortable. But let alone, 7 foot? How big is Shaq?
He's like 7'1".
7'1",
3,
Yeah.
whatever.
Got to be over 300 pounds. Has to be.
I did see Ian Carmel, our local, national comedic celebrity. He quote tweeted this and was like, I know an Ozempic S when I see one.
I gotta go.
Because I guess Ozempic just clears you right out.
So that's how you lose weight on Ozempic. It just makes you crap everything out.
Makes you also not want to eat as much.
So you poop everything and you lose your appetite.
A little bit, yeah.
Hell of a way to lose weight.
To
right
be
there.
fair, they're finding really positive study results from Ozempic.
Okay, all positive so far. Nobody's like
haven't-
losing their liver yet.
No,
We're
they haven't
not
turned into zombies yet.
Kidney failure hasn't happened.
It's not The
This
Last of Us.
We don't have a Last of Us situation on our
Bunch of
hands.
skinny zombies screaming at us. trying to eat our
Barnacles growing
brains.
on your head. All right, that's good to know. There's hope in my future.
I mean, is anybody else as curious about this Shaq and his toilet situation?
I've been watching TV for a long time. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody live on TV have to poop while live on TV.
But what does he do when he travels?
I don't know.
You can't take a toilet with you.
No, you can't.
So if he goes to like Vietnam, I went to Vietnam, man.
Tiny toilets.
Not a lot of 7-footers in Vietnam.
I felt like I was 7'1" on a couple of them things.
Tiny toilets.
So like, what does Shaq do?
Why are my knees so high right now? They're up to my shoulders.
That's got to be. I'm going to say this with like a lot of irrational confidence. That's got to be the most underrated, awful part of being his size.
yeah, without a doubt. I would say finding clothes that fit, pooping,
Yeah.
and then like travel situations if you're not rich. Like if you have to sit in a normal airplane
Like
seat.
he's flying private.
Like he's
right?
well,
Oh,
I'm saying if you're not Shaq status, like say
Yes.
you're a random 7-footer that didn't have any basketball skills, which every time you see somebody that big, you're like, how'd you not play basketball? Just go out there and stand and grab a rebound. You could have had a 5-year career in the NBA. That has to be really uncomfortable. Sitting in stadium seats, sitting in an airplane, none of that stuff
I
fits.
feel terrible for him.
I do too. I feel bad for the toilet too. That poor toilet.
It's not alive.
I mean, could be. You never know. It's got feelings.
Not
again.
We have an early mail sack question I want to ask you two about, so we'll get to that coming up. We got an interesting college football note yesterday. The Trailblazers had some more bad luck happen to them.
I'm shocked.
How about the state of Oregon and the city of Portland not be involved in any coin flip scenarios
Never
ever
again. If we ever get involved in a coin flip, just say no. We're not showing up.
It just never goes our way.
We don't want to do the coin flip.
So we'll get to that at the top of the hour. And we got Ian Fess at 7:30. Dirt and Sprague back with more. But first, Swag with a sports update.
This is Draft Week with Dirt and Sprague.
Brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys you can put your trust in. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on The Fan. Drama down to the final moments. Both game twos in the NBA playoffs Monday night. Road teams evening things up. Pistons built a double-digit lead. This time they held off the Knicks. 194, they end a 15-game playoff losing streak. Series tied at 1 going back to Detroit Game 3 on Thursday. Nuggets and Clippers went back and forth all night. Kawhi Leonard had 39 points. Too much for Denver to overcome. 105-102 Clippers even that series at 1-all. Game 3 Thursday in L.A. 3 more Game 2s tonight. We'll start 4 o'clock on NBA TV in Indianapolis. Bucks trying to even things up with the Pacers. Damian Lillard upgraded to questionable, recovering from a blood clot. Indy a 4-point favorite. Can the Grizzlies give the Thunder any sort of challenge in Game 2? 4:30 tip on TNT. OKC 14.5-point favorites there. The Nightcaps in L.A. Lakers trying to respond to their Game 1 loss to the Timberwolves. Lakers are 6-point favorites. The NBA held the coin toss to determine the odds for NBA lottery teams that finished tied with the same records. The Trailblazers lost their coin flip to the Phoenix Suns, and they will have the 10th best odds of landing the number 1 draft pick when the NBA lottery is held on May 12th. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
More, please. Go.
We will get to the Blazer news. We got to talk about that Clipper Nugget game last night. God, that was great.
Phenomenal game. It's delivered. First 2 games of the series have been awesome.
Best series, not even close.
Not even close.
Pistons Knicks was, boy, I might have been way wrong on that one because Pistons could have an argument to be up 2-0 right now.
Good run in the fourth quarter of game 1 doomed them. That was a really solid performance, bounce back for a young team without a lot of playoff experience.
I will, I want to give you guys some airtime today. I know it's a shorter segment, but, you know, NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are happening.
We'll cup check. We'll cup check it.
Yeah.
Last night delivered.
Weekend
sucked.
The weekend
Last night
was
awesome.
So I had this question from one of our listeners.
Yeah.
And it was like, from a historical perspective, how would you rank Bettman as a commissioner? He worked on subtle rule changes to increase scoring and encourage players to decrease on ice altercations. And 72 years, well, then they're asking who would replace him. How are we viewing Bettman? Is he still like garbage, or are we adjusting? Because commissioners are like up and down, right? They're a little bit like a stock. And it's silver comes out, bam, everybody's buying stock. And then the league, after a couple of years, people were like, well, I don't know about this guy, man. He's no David Stern, and now his stock craters, and then it goes back up. Hey, the IST. And
well, what are we tinkering with the All-Star game for? This guy's an idiot.
Just saying, like Bettman.
I think Bettman's gotten a lot better as time has gone on, and I think part of that is he came from the NBA, if I remember correctly. He was not raised up in the hockey culture. And so initially that was like, why are we importing somebody that isn't born and bred out of hockey culture? But I think he's embraced it a lot more. I don't think he is reviled as he was certainly right after the lockout, the last lockout they had.
I mean, anytime a lockout happens, the commissioner is going to be booed loudly, and he is still booed. Like when whoever wins the Stanley Cup,
I think that's
when
part
he
of the
walks out
shtick
there, they're just
now,
going to boo the
though.
hell out of him. I look.
He's not the worst.
He's not the worst.
Who's the worst?
See, that's when
you can't say Manfred, and I know he should be it, but you can.
Michael Scott's done some pretty good things.
Yeah.
Michael Scott's got a couple of dubs on his books.
Silver just got $76 billion.
The thing that I'll say about
That's
Gary
how
Bettman,
he's judged.
he's had a lot of whiffs in his career. He's had some hits, like any commissioner is going to, right? Like nobody's going to have a perfect record. The biggest question that I have for them, and this will be, and I think last night again it was on display, and I bitch about this constantly in professional sports. It's embarrassing for leagues to have situations in cities with teams that don't care and owners that are bad. Like, it's just a really bad look for your league. You're a professional sports league. The A's are playing in a minor league stadium, and Tampa, who still can't get a deal done, is playing at a spring training facility. Go look at the crowds in Pittsburgh this year. Go look at the crowds in Miami this year. They're horrible. Nobody's there. Those kind of situations, to me, I look at them and they downgrade you a little bit as an owner. Not that that's ultimately in your control, but I'll connect this back to Bettman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if you watched any of the Winnipeg game last night. They won again. They're up 2-0. Winnipeg's had a great story. They might have the best goalie in all of hockey this year.
Look at the Jets.
Yeah.
The arena, the atmosphere, it's a sellout. There's thousands of people out front of the stadium. It is everything to that city. That city lost a team.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta is where they came from. And if you go back and look at attendance numbers in Atlanta, nobody cared, nobody watched, nobody followed, nobody talked about it in that city.
Which is why I'm fascinated they're flirting.
And this is where my biggest question with Gary Bettman is. Are you just going to chase, hey, Coca-Cola's there and that's big corporate money and we'll sell some season tickets? Or are you going to chase actual markets that will care and support your league? Seattle has been an unbelievable home run for the NHL.
The last 2 expansions have
Vegas
been
has
home
been
runs.
unbelievable. Are you going to really go back into Atlanta? Are you really going to go back into Phoenix now that they lost their team after nobody cared, watched, or followed them for basically 20 years? Or are you going to follow that blueprint of Winnipeg's been a grand slam since they got a team back, Seattle has been incredible, and Vegas has been incredible? To me, that will be, he's up there. I don't know how much longer. He did, by the way, come from the NBA. He was the head counsel.
Well, what other markets are in the running?
Well, Hamilton, Ontario has been bandied about for years. They could use another Canadian franchise, which is the second, I believe it's the second biggest city in Ontario after Toronto.
Okay. Any U.S. market?
I mean, if we
Atlanta
ever
and
had a
Phoenix,
different owner of the NBA
that
team
we're,
here,
we're not having it.
I mean,
It
we
ain't
might
happening.
have a different.
So
owner
the
at some point. They
question-
have to
the
sell at some
question in
point. They
Arizona-
literally have to sell.
I
at
don't
some
think they
point.
do.
They do.
I'm
They
at
have to
this
sell.
point where
Adam Silver said it. They have to sell. I believe Adam Silver. Okay, he didn't lie to me.
I think the question in Arizona is if there's different management.
No, there's no question. That's a failed market.
Yeah,
Why
so-
would you go back to a failed market? That doesn't make business sense.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, unfortunately, a lot of them are Canadian cities, which I'm okay with, because they should go to places where the teams are
Yeah.
going to be supported and cared about, not to cities where you just are chasing corporate dollars. Like Quebec City, I think
Quebec
would
City,
be
you
awesome.
could go back to.
Milwaukee, I'm sure, is a potential for expansion that always gets bantied about. Portland will show up on lists like this. Kansas City, I think, would kill
Kansas
as an
City
NHL
has an
market.
arena ready
Kansas
to go.
City
Indianapolis,
wants another pro
I think,
sports
would be
Yeah.
a good hockey town. They
Yeah.
support most of their teams. Like, there are examples here where you can go to places and get good support. But if you end up back, if you go to Houston's one of the cities going after this.
Was Utah a smash success for them year one?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
from everything that I saw from the attendance numbers, the people following it, it was the arena's not a great hockey arena. That was the irony of them going there. It wasn't an arena that
Yeah.
was built for hockey, and so the sight lines and the seating angles are a little bit strange. If you go to Houston, Atlanta, New Orleans, Phoenix,
The
dude,
warm weather climates it's
it's
really
just not
wanna
happening.
support
Like
it.
there are rare
Houston
examples.
might work.
But
Houston's had a AHL team for a long time that I think is fairly well supported.
Yeah.
I
just
plus
think-
there's enough of a population base there where
yeah, I look at expansions in cities where you already have an NHL team, which is a huge deal in Houston, and the Rockets. I mean, let's be fair. They've had a hell of a 20-year run here with multiple iterations of stars. And
Yeah.
they have the number 2 seed in the West this
Texans
year.
have been
And Texans have been decent, right? And they got
awful.
C.J. Stroud now,
Yeah.
and it just I would look at that and say we will never. And the Astros, by the way, have won multiple World Series, right? We can make fun of them banging trash cans, but they're a very well-run organization who's essentially in the playoffs every year. You're never going to be higher than fourth banana in that city ever.
Well, are the Stars higher than fourth banana in Dallas?
No, but it took a long time to get there, and they won a Stanley Cup in the late 90s, which helped. And so winning will ultimately kind of get you over that hump. But if you don't win a Stanley Cup,
That was the Panthers kind of in South Florida for a long time.
for a long time,
Fourth, fifth banana.
Yeah, that's
and
the
then,
I mean, the Marlins are, nobody cares about the Marlins.
Nobody cares about the Marlins. Marlins don't even care about the Marlins.
I mean, Miami doesn't really care about sports in general. They're
They're
go
not very passionate.
They go when you're good. If you're
Yeah.
good, we'll go. And the Panthers happen to be good right now.
So the hockey was hockeying last night, huh?
It was awesome, dude.
Big time hockey.
It was
night.
awesome. Edmonton coming back from down 5-2 and then giving up a goal 90
Dallas
seconds
coming
later.
back from being down to the Avalanche, evening that series up.
Awesome, and then somehow the Canadiens forcing overtime with Washington and a huge lopsided matchup, and then Ovechkin scoring a game winner. 3 great games last night.
History was made in the association last night. I'll tell you how. Next on The Fan. Well, it sounds crazy to say it out loud. We all kind of knew it. Yesterday, the Detroit Pistons won their first playoff game in 17 years.
Well done, Detroit. Well done.
17
years. Not series.
No.
Game.
Playoff
game.
I think they'd been swept 4 consecutive times.
Play the fun game of 17 years ago. I was 19 years old.
Glad you can do math.
19 years old.
Yeah. It's 21.
21.
Booze.
Boom.
That's just Paxton was 7.
We talk about the Pistons from time to time.
Sorry.
Especially in this market. We like to tout the 2004 Pistons. Well, yeah, that's Pistons team to have a superstar either, Sprague. They win the title. Yeah. All right. Well. Yeah, 17 years without winning a playoff game.
Pretty remarkable. That's a long drought for a fan base to go through. Happy for the fans of Detroit. Detroit basketball. They're back.
I'd be interesting to go back 17 years and see all of the mistakes they have made to go from being one of the more respected NBA franchises
to irrelevancy
to absolute bottom barrel irrelevancy until they got Cade Cunningham, last night. He was awesome. He scored 33 points. He had 12 boards.
Where was he drafted?
Number 1.
Okay, just check him.
He was number 1 pick. We'll get to the pick stuff.
Just checking on that.
Here was Cade Cunningham in the postgame on his approach to game 2.
Just be aggressive and take what they give me. Start with being aggressive and see how they want to guard it from there. And then, I felt like a lot of times it was making a play to JD or whoever to make the next play. It was just what the game gave me. I wasn't really trying to look for anything in particular, just, be aggressive, play hard.
I mean, look, he wasn't spectacular in game 1, but they could make a real claim that if there's not this historic 20+0 run, they win game 1. And so they could be up 2-0, but they're at least going to go back to Detroit. I'm very curious to watch the atmosphere in Detroit. It hasn't been, there's been really reason for them to be great fans.
No.
Until this season.
Now they finally have it. And they got a tied series with the Knicks coming to town.
And the Knicks just, we can get to the Knicks. The Knicks just, what are the Knicks?
Yeah, that's a team that is spent a lot in terms of capital and money to put this roster together. And if they lose in the first round, we talked about this going into the playoffs. They are one of the teams that has the most pressure on them in the first round, considering the moves that they made in the offseason. For Karl Anthony Townsend, 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges?
5 first for Bridges.
Oopsies. I would say for the Pistons, looking through their draft history, where it all went wrong was taking Darko Milicic 2nd overall and one of the best drafts in the history of the NBA.
It started there.
We didn't need anybody else. We already have a title-winning team. Who needs Carmelo Anthony or Dwayne Wade drafted after that? Wasn't Bosh in that draft too? That's literally one of the best drafts in NBA history, and they took a guy who played 7 games in his NBA career.
Yeah.
Looking through the rest of their first-round picks after that, it's a really funny walk down memory lane. There's a Rodney Stuckey in there at 15.
Loved Rodney Stuckey, the pride of Eastern Washington.
Yes.
I thought he was going to be legit.
We have Austin Dave, 15th overall pick from Gonzaga.
Yes.
Remember
Austin
him?
Day, I remember that.
Greg Monroe, 7th overall pick in 2010.
Yeah, I always called him Greg Oden Light.
Brandon Knight, 8th overall pick from Kentucky.
He basically, his career was over the minute DeAndre Jordan just absolutely murdered him on an alley-oop.
Yeah, it was it. It's over. It's over from that point. KCP was the 8th overall pick.
Became a good player.
He's had an okay career.
He started out okay, and then he was good, and then I remember talking on the radio about him or CJ.
Nuggets could use him right now.
They could, yeah, that's true. Stanley Johnson from Arizona. Remember that? 8th overall pick in 2015.
I wasn't a big Stanley Johnson.
Henry Ellenson from Marquette. I don't even remember him, 2016. Mm-hmm. Luke Kennard, 12th overall pick from Duke.
Good rotational player.
A dude who I can't even pronounce his name, 15th overall pick in 2019. Killian Hayes in 2020, and then they finally landed Cade Cunningham.
Even with them anymore.
Ivy, Sear Thompson, and Ron Holland.
Their last few picks.
They finally have figured it out. It's just funny when you ask, how did they get into this spot? Well, that's about 10 years of missing on first-round draft picks.
So they've got Duren. Ivy was having a good season until he broke his leg. That's the underrated part, is they're missing Ivy.
They didn't even have him, yeah.
They got Cade Cunningham. I don't really know where I'm at on Ron Holland. His numbers aren't amazing, but he plays with a lot of FU energy.
He also seems like one of those just super young, he's going to take a little bit of time.
He's really raw.
Yeah.
Beef Stewart is just chip on the shoulder, want to fight you every night. So they've had their last few picks. all those other picks you named, could you tell me who was in charge of making those picks? And then tell me, where is he now? Because he just got hired.
Yes.
He got hired somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
you mentioned his name the other day.
Joe
you thought
Dumars.
yeah.
Joe Dumars.
You thought he was still running Detroit.
I just assumed he did. He won titles there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was an NBA champion for the Detroit Pistons.
I still think the Knicks can win this series. I love Tom Thibodeau complaining that Brunson's not getting the same whistle as Cade Cunningham.
Oh God, his like fast break. I'm going to stop on a dime when you're behind me thing drives me nuts. There's a lot of NBA players that do stuff like that.
Chris Paul did that very
all
well.
the time.
Yeah.
It's just I feel you right on my hip,
Yep.
and I'm going to stop, and then you're going to run into me because you're chasing me full speed, and got to call a foul.
The Knicks better get one in Detroit because they have 2 games off between their next 2 games. So they play Thursday and then they play Sunday because they look.
We're only going to be a game 4 on Sunday.
Yeah,
It's Tuesday.
Well, next Tuesday will be game 5.
Next Tuesday. Well, no, it won't because they're playing Sunday, so they probably won't play again until
then
Wednesday.
they play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday the following
Oh,
week.
Tuesday,
now.
Thursday, Saturday.
Think about this. The week from right now, only game 5.
We're still going to be talking about this
Yeah.
series
And
because
so
nobody
but they
can
look-
technically win it.
Thibodeau team. He's not playing a bench. They're not getting
They don't
anything
have
off
a bench.
their bench.
Who do you want him to play?
Well, exactly. But the starters there are looking gassed now come the fourth quarter. Cat couldn't even get a shot up in the
Cam
fourth quarter.
Payne was the hero in game 1. Absolute zeros registered
Exactly.
except for a turnover.
So it's
Zero,
a
zero,
typical
zero,
Tom
zero, zero,
Thibodeau
zero,
team
zero,
where
zero.
he just grinded them out in the regular season, and they don't seem to have that.
I mean, you want PJ Tucker getting minutes?
I mean,
That's
look,
the hard part they got.
That's the hard
their
part they got.
benches
They
not-
just don't. They don't have anybody.
You know, given everything they traded for Bridges, kind of started smelling their own stuff a little too hard after one good year.
I would think so. Yeah.
Like Brunson takes that great team friendly deal. Okay. The 5 picks, I mean, if I tell you a year ago that those assets could be used towards a Giannis,
this summer,
I mean, you're gonna look back and go, well, I'm glad we got Villanova.
we got the Villanova
Light.
boys
We got
together.
Villanova Light here.
Keep doing those AT&T commercials.
Yeah.
It's good for business.
Josh Hart, 2 of 6 in 40 minutes.
Yeah, look, he's a good role player, but that when you're relying on him to be more of an offensive guy, Bridges is the biggest disappointment. When you trade 5 first-round picks for a guy, you have to. I mean, you have to be a star in order for that trade to work out. And he's a fine player. He's a decent player. He's not. I don't know if he's a number 1 or number 2 option on a title team.
Ask you very quickly. We'll go to second hour here. Yep. Do we want the Pistons? Do we like the Pistons being
I'm rooting
good?
for the Pistons to win. I am.
Or were we used to them being a bottom feeder? Now this is weird to us.
I'm okay with Bing Bong going to the second round. Just the MSG atmosphere, the fans outside of the arena yelling and screaming. It'd be kind of funny for Detroit to come out of nowhere, not win a playoff game for 17 years, bounce them in the first round. That would be pretty. That would be pretty funny.
Who would have had that on the bingo card at the
start of the year? You know who New York's going to lose to
in round 1?
Bing Bong, you're gone. Here come the Pistons. Cade Cunningham's knocking your ass out.
Loaded second hour. We'll get to that Nugget Clipper game. That was a great game, too. We'll talk about that. And the Blazers had some misfortune happen for them. Loaded second hour. Dirt and Sprague on the Fan.
From the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, plenty of drama in the NBA playoffs. Monday night, the Pistons ended a 17-year playoff drought, getting a win over the Knicks, 194, evening that series up at 1-1. They go back to Detroit for Game 3 on Thursday. Nuggets and Clippers again going down to the wire. Kawhi Leonard had 39 points, including the game-clinching three. They beat the Nuggets 105-102. Game 3 Thursday in L.A. 3 more Game 2s tonight. 4 o'clock on NBA TV from Indianapolis. The Bucks trying to even things up with the Pacers. Damian Lillard has been upgraded to questionable. Still not sure if he's ready to go. Indy a 4-point favorite there. Grizzlies wondering what they've got for the Thunder after losing by 51 in Game 1. 4:30 tip on TNT. OKC 14.5-point favorites. The Nightcaps in L.A. Lakers trying to respond after a Game 1 loss to the Timberwolves. They are 6-point favorites. The NCAA has begun the process to formally change their bylaws that will allow schools to pay student-athletes directly for playing sports. This in preparation for the expected settlement to the House lawsuit later this month. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. It's time to talk about things like high upside and great motors.
I would not take a quarterback there. Probably get one of those receivers. Now you got weapons around the quarterback, or you get the left tackle to bookend.
This is a draft week edition of Dirt and Sprague.
Brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Get $2,000 off a new energy-efficient system now through May 31st. Call or visit aeheatingandcooling.com.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080. The Fan.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2. Dirt and Sprague here. Ripping and rolling on a Tuesday. Good morning. If you miss any of the show, you can always catch it at the YouTube page or 1080thefan.com. Talked a little NBA. What size toilet Shaq requires in emergency situations. Happy birthday to Jack Nicholson, 88 years young.
That's a big toilet. Got to have a big toilet.
I don't know if we'll get to it today, but there's starting to be a little chatter crapping all over the city of Portland with our financials for the Portland Diamond Project.
Yeah, you want angry pants dirt over here. People keep going down this road. You're gonna get angry pants dirt.
I inspired one person to go on his national podcast.
You did. We'll have to get him back
text.
on the show. You talked about it the other day. I think you mentioned when this news came out. I think we talked about it last week. You said you had texted him.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he had done this until a listener earlier today had said, well, I just saw David Sampson tear Portland a new one. And I'm like, all right, now I got to go find that.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say tear
It wasn't tear a new
one.
No. There's a lot
great.
of op-eds coming out all of a sudden. God forbid the insane amount of taxes that we spend in Multnomah County go towards something that I want to use. God forbid we get something nice out of being one of the most taxed counties in the entire country. Please just give me Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I'm one of those individuals that like totally
City that works. Works for who? Give me baseball.
I totally understand it. But like I've also kind of flipped because I'm selfish as a sports fan. And I'm like, just give them all the money, build it, damn it.
Take all the money. I don't care. How much do you need to raise my property taxes by? Go for it. All right.
There's a John Oliver piece that says don't do it.
I don't care.
I know.
I want to sit in a ballpark in the middle of July on an 87-degree Tuesday. Okay, it's all I want. Look out on the river, the DDPC's running people back and forth across the Willamette. Give me something nice for once.
You're
please.
a weird lib. Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Tired of paying all these taxes and not getting my roads fixed.
We'll get to some Blazer news here in a second. I wanted to give you guys a heads up. If you didn't hang out with us yesterday on the program, or you're just catching the show at the start of the 7 a.m. hour, I don't know if you've heard this, but it's back.
I'm like, yeah.
Your local Toyota dealers presents the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic back at Langdon Farms Golf Club on Tuesday, June 24th. Brought to you by Henderson and Daughter Windows and Doors and by Philbrook Law Accident and Injury Lawyers. Once again, there'll be morning and afternoon flights, 7 a.m. 1 p.m. are your 2
Holy
rounds.
crap.
Matt's Barbecue, again, will be catering the post-round meals. Foursomes can be purchased right now. 1080thefan.com. Again, 1080thefan.com. Click on the Fan Golf Classic logo for details and link to purchase your foursome. We'll have more information as we, get closer and closer.
We got more announcements. There's going to be different sponsorships, all sorts of cool things that'll be involved. It's going to be a blast.
But we look forward to seeing you out at Langdon Farms on Tuesday, June 24th. Should be a good time.
It's going to be a blast. It's always a great time every year. We can't wait. It's going to be fun. And if you want to play, usually the afternoon round sells out quicker. So if you're looking for an afternoon team, we give this morning every year, and then people don't listen to us. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you got any foursomes left for the afternoon? It's like, no, the afternoon sells out like that. So if you want one of those afternoon tee times to do the whole, hey, I'm actually working, but I'm not really working thing, which we all love to do from time to time, go book it now. 1080thefan.com.
You have to bear with us. That was the NFL one. There is an NBA one, but that's the NFL sound.
What is the
They
NBA
use the same one.
I think they use the same one,
They
don't
use the same one for the
sure?
yeah,
I think
the
they use the
WNBA
same one.
draft. They use the same one.
No kidding.
That's their draft sound when the pick is in.
It is kind of a nice, delightful draft
There
pick
was
sound.
It's a great sound.
There
in
was
fact.
a Sports Center feature. I think it was Sunday morning Sports Center
On how this was created.
on who created how it came about when it was first used. And they had it ready to go for a certain draft, but for some reason there was production crap, and they didn't get it to like the 9th pick of the draft. For some reason, they couldn't figure out
that was
how
the
to get it
debut
going.
of the 9th pick of a draft.
all of a sudden with the 9th pick.
Yeah, it was the 8th or 9th pick.
Why's
or
that guy
something.
get a sound effect? Huh? The first 7 or 8 didn't get one? Those are big names.
Well, that sound you hear,
I kind of want that to be like my text message ringtone now.
you'd get annoyed of it.
I
Quick.
probably would, yeah.
I want to like it. I don't want to hate it.
You just hear it 3 times a year.
It's like a good song. It's like I want to hear it, but like don't play it as much as you're playing it. But
How many rounds of draft do you watch in a year?
which draft?
Total. Like, what's your total number
so
of
there's
rounds watched?
2 NBA,
2
2
NBA,
WNBA.
7 in the NFL.
7 in the NFL. Who knows how
Nobody
many?
watches
baseball.
the
I watch
MLB
baseball or
one.
NHL.
I'll watch usually the first round of the NHL draft because that's on a Friday night, and then the rest
Now,
of it's on a Saturday.
Is it on or am I like watching?
On.
Mm,
Yeah. I think I'm at 2
5?
rounds. You're at 5 rounds, really.
yeah.
You go into the NFL weekend? Is that where you stack up? Or are you going at WNBA, other
I
sports?
watched the first of the WNBA.
Okay.
I mean, I had both rounds on, but like largely did not pay attention to the second round of the WNBA.
Yeah.
Both in the NBA because usually our team's involved.
True.
Yeah.
And then I watch probably the first 2.5 rounds of the NFL.
Do you really? You
And then
follow into Friday?
Yeah, and then I
And
go
then
into the
it's-
blogs and
yeah,
see.
Saturday morning it starts going. They're just
I quit. I don't.
You lose me after like the 22nd
well, they're
pick, I think, in
picking
the
every
NFL
what
draft.
3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes from
It
rounds
speeds
4
up at
through
least.
7.
Yeah,
so
it speeds up over the weekend.
And then there's Willie One Leg McGee. He's coming up to announce the next pick. Coming up with his prosthetic leg. Hey, what up, Green Bay? Go Eagles!
Boo!
And then he announces the pick. You know, it's
That's
fun
how it
to
goes.
see on the internet, but
It
like I
is.
don't really watch it.
No, I don't even know if I make. I'll be curious on Thursday if I make it through the entire first round because there's going to be other games. There's like playoff games going on Thursday, so you're gonna have to. There's going to be multiple
You're gonna need
screens
multiple
involved.
screens.
It's going to be a busy evening.
Boy, I might be the worst person to
yeah,
invite
you'll have
to do
Knicks
that pick
Pistons
announcement.
game 3, LA.
I
Would
would
you go
troll.
total heel?
I'd be
Yeah.
such a dude. I grew up on wrestling. I would be such a heel.
So your Thursday games in the you're going to get Knicks Pistons at 4
Right.
on TNT. You get Nugs Clips game 3 on Thursday.
Yeah, that's gonna take precedent for
And
me.
then isn't
Dude,
Lakers Timberwolves?
No, you get Thunder Memphis, which nobody
Nobody
cares
cares,
about.
yeah.
The Nuggets Clippers game is on NBA TV on Thursday. The Thunder and Grizzlies are on TNT. Why are the Thunder? Why is this on TNT? Somebody explain this to me. They're on TNT.
Nuggets Clippers on NBA TV of all the games.
OKC Memphis tips at 6:30, second half of the
Pistons,
TNT
Knicks.
doubleheader, and Nuggets and Clippers is on at 7
Pistons
Wow.
Knicks
on
is-
NBA TV.
I mean, look, OKC Memphis should be, but
Is that the
Pistons-Knicks
league trying
more.
to drive eyeballs to NBA TV? That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't get it. I don't. Is it a John Moran thing? He's so big with the kids, we got to put him on TNT.
I don't know.
Throwing his grenades. I don't understand. They're on TNT tonight too.
By the way,
Look, Milwaukee, Indiana is not that entertaining of a series. I grant you that, but it is far more entertaining than Oklahoma City and Memphis.
Giannis on,
it's not a grenade, by the way.
It's not. What's he throwing?
What is it?
He's blocking out the noise. So he's taking the noise and he's throwing it out, and then he's
Sure he
covering his
is.
ears.
Because it's too
Nice
loud.
try,
A lot of
Ja.
noise.
And this wasn't a gun.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, who shoots a gun like that?
He was just holding
holding this
the
broom.
support of his
holding
community
the baby? What are we
in
doing?
gun form. And then aiming it at the opposing team to say,
Stop it.
I have support.
Okay.
Maybe it was like a love gun. He's just shooting love at the teammates, at the opponents. Here's some love for you and some love for you.
Is that what he said on his Instagram out of the strip club?
Yeah, he was just there showing love.
What up, world? Here's my love gun.
This is my love gun here at the House of Love.
Let's get back into what we were supposed to get into.
Yeah, what do we got? Sorry. I digress.
Your Portland Trailblazers have lost the coin flip to the old Phoenix Suns.
Of course they did.
The draft lottery odds are now set, and the Trailblazers are on the clock. They have the 10th pick if everything falls exactly where it's supposed to. But the math doesn't always math, so we know they may move up. There's a possibility they may move back.
They could.
And if this isn't a kick in the nuts, how about this little twist? Not only did you lose the coin flip again, nice to read the dream book and recap us losing Akeem
What's our number on
Olajuwon.
coin flip? Are we 0 for 3 now on coin flips? What's our franchise
I
record?
think we've won one back in the day,
You sure
but
about that?
nothing
Swag, can you
recently.
correct
Let me-
something of historical nature that I think I've had wrong my entire existence?
Okay.
I feel like in elementary school, somebody at some point told me we had a coin flip to be named Boston or Portland, and
Yes.
we lost it.
Uh,
Is that accurate?
well,
for
I
the
don't.
city name?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there were whoever were the founding.
The founding fathers
The
of
founding
Portland.
whites?
The founding
Yeah.
whites of Portland.
So one was from Portland, Maine. One was from Boston, Massachusetts, and they couldn't decide, so they did flip a coin.
They flipped a coin.
Right. Portland just continually losing coin flips in every
Well,
manner.
Portland
Well,
won.
I would-
Boston
yeah,
lost.
Boston
Ah,
lost.
well, I'd rather be loser there because we'd have the Red Sox.
Would you? Well, we wouldn't be we wouldn't have the
We
Red
would
Sox.
be Boston,
We would
Oregon.
be Boston, Oregon.
We'd have a different
How-
mentality.
See, no, I don't think we would.
We'd be
I'm
more
actually
aggressive.
This
We'd
is
be
what I'm with.
Bostonians.
We'd be all
think we
parking
would?
the car. Is that what you're telling us?
Give me my Dunkin' Donuts. I want my donuts. We would be the laughing stock if our city name was Boston. We'd be Little
Why?
Boston. We're bigger than Portland, Maine. When people think of Portland, we come to mind more so than Portland, Maine, without a doubt. Especially what's happened in our city in the last 10 years.
I hosted a gambling show with a lady in Boston, and my producer's from Long Island. I am telling you fairly confidently, East Coast people do not think of Portland, Oregon.
We would never get recognition if we were Boston, Oregon.
Yeah, we would.
No, we would not.
Bill Burr would be from here
Oh, yeah, that's
because
how
it rains all the time. He's
Now-
pissed off.
We did win the 1974 coin toss that got us Bill Walton.
Really?
Hey,
About that?
look at us. We got one coin toss win in our history.
I was about to drop this. No one And then you said Bill Walton, and I went, well, that one actually.
Well, that was a big deal. It's the
Well-
only time we've ever done anything good in our franchise.
So not only did we lose the coin flip, and I know the pro Trailblazers, everything's great, rainbow sunshine people would say, percentages are really not that different, guys. Okay, that's fair. How about this kick in the nuts? Not only did we lose the coin flip to Phoenix, so we're technically in the 10 seed or 10 spot. If the Phoenix Suns somehow break through and win the lottery,
The
get
coin
rights to
flip
Cooper
pick,
Flag,
they get the pick.
they get the pick. Not only would that be a kick in the nuts because that should have been us,
If you didn't lose a coin flip.
I'm now going to tell you that Cooper Flag will be a Houston Rocket.
Yeah, the thing that they're missing, a superstar player.
And so the Houston Rockets are the other young team that we like to tout here to say we could be them.
Already better than you.
And they're the 2 seed in the West this year, and they've got slightly better odds to get Cooper Flag than you do.
I mean, when I saw this yesterday, you texted that they lost. I was not watching. I wasn't sure when the coin flip was going to take place. at this point, all I can do is laugh. All I can do is laugh. They've done this to themselves for incompetent end of the season management, and for fans celebrating winning 10 out of 11 games because, yay, my Tuesday was fun. Here we are with the 10th worst odds or best odds, depending on how you want to define it, in the NBA draft. And Phoenix winning the number 1 overall pick, either of the two teams ahead of you would just be. There's been a lot of kicking the nuts over the last 15 years as Blazer fans.
That'd be a big one.
That'd be near the top of the list. Because one, San Antonio, you should have chased down if you knew what you were doing. Because if you're talking percentages, 9 to 10 is not that big of a difference. If you won this coin toss, your odds to win the lottery were 3.8%.
But you were arguing and screaming about catching San Antonio at one point when we were right behind them.
Yes.
So you cannot tell me that those percentages matter and this one's not that big a deal. It's more percentages. It's
any percentage is a massive deal. So being in San Antonio's spot almost doubles your odds from either the Phoenix spot or the Portland spot.
They have a 3.7% chance of the number 1 pick, a 4% chance of the second pick, a 4.4% chance of the third pick, and they have a 16.9% chance of moving into the top 4. If they do not move up in the lottery, they cannot finish in the 5 to 9 pick positions.
No.
They have an 81.9% chance, 81.9, of picking 10 or 11.
Yep.
They have a significantly better chance of moving back a spot than sniffing the top 4.
And you're stuck exactly where you are without a star player on your team, and you're going to be a fun little engine that could next year that, golly gee willikers, we play good defense from time to time, but until you land that guy, nothing in your circumstances will change.
But if they're the 10 seed, boy, that was the bar. They took one step forward.
That's the bar, man. That's the bar.
Let's get to the Nuggets-Clippers game. Let's move on from depressing Blazer lottery news. The Nuggets-Clippers game. Boy, that series is something. We'll get to that next on The Fan.
fan.
I don't get to get on my soapbox often. I mean, I do, but I don't choose to at all times. Ian Fess at the bottom of the hour. I'll just say this. If you tell me that the NBA sucks, you just outright don't like basketball anymore, and you just need to look in the mirror and tell yourself that, and then shut up and then not watch basketball. Just watch your football, watch your occasional random what the hell ever. Pipe down on basketball. Clippers Nuggets is elite high-level basketball. That was as good a basketball as you've ever seen in your life. I'm just telling you up front, straight up it was. Statistically, the play, all of it. That's as good a basketball as you've seen in your life. May not have a Michael Jordan in the game, but if you didn't like it, you don't like basketball. And that's okay. You don't have to like basketball, but stop piping in about basketball and how bad it is when that game existed.
That game was incredible last night. The first game was easily the best game in all of sports over the weekend, and the second game, they had competition last night, but it was the best game of last night. It was back and forth. Every time it felt like the Clippers were taking control, Denver would somehow pull a 6-0 run out of their butt in like 12 seconds, and you're like, okay, they were down by 7. Now they're down by 1. And the toughest news, if you're a Nuggets fan, is that Jokic wasn't the best player on the floor. And there's not many guys that can do that to him, and there's not many games in which that happens to him. Kawhi Leonard was unbelievable last night. It was a vintage, oh, that's right. Remember when this guy used to do this in the playoffs seemingly every year, and he'd play in like 12 regular season games, and then come playoff time, he'd be like, damn, he's really good. I mean, he almost couldn't miss for 3 quarters. He had a couple of misses in the fourth. But to go 39 points on 19 field goal attempts.
15 of 19.
15 of 19. So he had 39 points, 19 field goal attempts, and he only made 5 free throws. So it wasn't like, sometimes you get those stat lines where you're just, he made 17 free throws in the game, and that's how he just did. I mean, he couldn't miss. He did everything. He was dominant defensively. He was unbelievable last night, and they needed every single one of those points because randomly for Denver, like you usually see in a playoff series, oh, look at that. Michael Porter Jr. had a competent basketball game, which he'll probably only do once in the series. They used up the game, and it wasn't enough because Kawhi Leonard was just too good last night.
We had Draymond pushing Şengün in Game 1 of Houston Golden State. We had a tiny brouhaha between these two teams last night with a Murray Norm Powell.
Picked him up.
And then we review it, and then we assess like 4 technical. Come on, man.
It's playoff basketball. Just play.
What if I'm the league? I'm calling right now. Don't do that again. Kawhi was awesome. You were right. Outshined, especially at the end there. Jokic, his turnaround fadeaway on Aaron Gordon. I don't even know he got that off.
I felt like most of his shots. It wasn't that they were just going in. It was as pure as could pure be. Not off the backboard. Just everything was just perfect.
That 3 to end the half, I mean, they were right on the broadcast. Brown made a great defensive play. Like, he's shooting that at a weird angle.
Yeah.
And it's just like butter.
Just wet.
He was just unbelievable. I was getting to a point where I know we would name B. Roy because we always like to throw B. Roy out. He might be the player that we look back and we say a lot of what ifs all time.
For sure.
We'll remember him all time.
He's got multiple titles with different teams.
But
might have another one. Who knows?
The season he didn't play in San Antonio, that was his last one. He played like 4 games.
Yep.
And then something weird happened.
The tenure in L.A. so far has been largely a disaster.
It has been, and it's because he hasn't been healthy. He hasn't played. He for me, and people act like that Toronto team wasn't loaded.
It was a very good team.
It was a very good team.
And they won because Kevin Durant tore his Achilles.
That too. But he won that championship. We put him on this pedestal of like maybe he's the best player in the league. And then basically since then he hasn't stayed healthy enough to be in that.
No.
But then he shows you that and you go, man, if you're healthy and you play 70 of 82.
That's a scary, scary dude.
That's a dude that is putting himself in conversations. I also was thinking about this last night. Jokic was good until the fourth quarter. He had some turnovers, some bad decision-making stuff. Not his typical Jokic game, 26, 10, and 12. I mean, how dare he only have a triple-double?
That's a down game for him, 26, 10, and 12.
As much as you talk about him being a top 5 jokingly, the way I talked about Steph being top 5, I mean, Swag, I think you'd back me on this. We crap on the older generations of players from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
I would pay heavy top dollar to watch Hakeem be able to grow up in this era. Because I think Hakeem could be doing all of these Jokic things.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
Dribbling,
Hakeem would have
handling the ball.
would have developed a 3-point shot. He
could already kind of dribble. He was doing moves out on the, just at the free throw extension.
Yes.
I would have
loved to see Akeem be brought up and developed. His skill set would have translated beautifully to this era of basketball.
100%. I mean, this is it was just elite basketball last night.
It was a great game. The effort, the intensity, it's everything you want. And I'm this way. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I was this way in hockey, and I was this way in the NBA. I was ready. It's hard to get me to care about game 67 of the regular season when I already kind of know the matchups. I know how everything's going to ratchet up in a couple of weeks. Now we're here, and games like that show you exactly why. Not that you don't get exciting regular season games, but I feel like in the regular season, that final last night's like 127, 125. And it's a classic game. You remember it. But there's something different about the level of intensity on both ends of the floor. Lower scoring games a little bit in terms of modern NBA standards so far in this series. I was awesome basketball.
So far I'm 100% right on the game by game.
Your game by game?
Yeah.
That was a tough one for me last night. I had a Pistons and Nugs moneyline parlay. Pistons won.
The Nugs going to go up 2-0, huh?
I just, I felt good. You're at home.
Feels like a good series. Like
it's going to be a long
series.
Yeah, I mean, they were a couple possessions away from doing it. It was
close.
I
know. Not the most ridiculous thing. I just thought maybe you'd say, all right, they're going to flip-flop.
I just like the odds. I like the odds in the Nugs, and I like the Pistons to go into New York and get a win, but came up just short last night.
What are the Seahawks going to do with their first-round draft pick? Are they eyeing a quarterback at all in this draft? Are the Sonics coming back this summer? We got a lot to talk about. Are the Mariners for real? Let's talk with Ian Fess coming up of 93.3 KJR for the Daily Ticker. But first, swag with a sports update.
This is Draft Week with Dirt and Sprague.
Brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on the Fan, what a night of NBA playoff action. The Pistons ended a 17-year playoff win drought, beating the Knicks 194. They held off the second-half rally from New York. That series knotted at 1-1 going back to Detroit for Game 3 on Thursday. The Nuggets and Clippers had 18 lead changes and 12 ties. Kawhi Leonard's 3 late in the fourth quarter. The clincher, 105-102 Clippers. They are tied at 1-1 going back to L.A. for Game 3 on Thursday. 3 more Game 2s tonight in the NBA. 4 o'clock on NBA TV from Indianapolis. Bucks trying to even things up with the Pacers. Damian Lillard upgraded to questionable, recovering from that blood clot. Indy, though, a 4-point favorite. Can the Grizzlies bounce back from a 51-point loss in Game 1 to the Thunder? They're 14.5-point dogs for a 4:30 tip tonight on TNT. The nightcap, can the Lakers get off the deck after losing Game 1 to the Timberwolves? They are 6-point favorites, 7 o'clock on TNT. NBA held their coin toss to determine the odds for the NBA lottery teams that finished tied with the same records. Trailblazers losing their coin flip to the Phoenix Suns. They will have the 10th best odds of landing the number 1 draft pick when the lottery is held on May 12th. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The original home of the The Fan. In this wide world of sports, some stories can slip through the cracks.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules.
Pelican Brewing presents The Daily Ticker, where Dirt and Sprague hit the big stories you've heard about, and some you haven't.
How'd you do that? Actually, I'm not even mad. It's amazing.
The Daily Ticker with Dirt and Sprague is brought to you by Pelican Brewing, independently brewing on the Oregon coast since 1996. Crack open a can of Beat Breaker Double IPA and take a bold, hoppy break. Pelican Brewing, born at the beach.
All right, Daily Ticker time on a Tuesday, brought to you as always by our great friends at Pelican Brewing Company. The return of warmer weather, Pelican Brewing brings back its summer seasonal beer, Pelicano, available in clear glass bottles. It's refreshment that you can see. Joining us now is our good buddy from Seattle, always kind with his time, 93.3 KJR, and obviously the Kraken Hockey Network as well, Ian Fess, at Ian D. Fess on Twitter. You can go give him a follow there. Buddy, good morning. We got a lot we want to get to with you. I want to start with the Cam Ward thing. I just am curious the emotions that are going in. I mean, he's going to be the number one overall pick on Thursday. You guys found him up in Pullman. He goes on to Miami. Of just what that emotion is like of having a former Coug likely be the number one pick in the draft on Thursday.
I think the key word is former. And by the way, good morning, fellas. Yeah, I think the key word is former. So he's a Miami Hurricane, and away he went. So I personally don't really have any emotions. I always heard he was a good guy and good kid and all that, but you know, he wasn't great at Wazoo. It's kind of funny with him. He was the poster child for NIL. Like, if you remember, he was probably the first NIL player in the state of Washington before Washington had any guys or the Cougs, and he came up there for a reported package of a whopping $100,000 or so. He had a truck, had a condo. His parents had some trips paid for to go see him play, and most people felt like he didn't live up to that NIL deal when it was all said and done. Yeah. So, how things have changed, right? Over the years, it's changed quite a bit since that time. But, yeah, I mean, he improved, I guess, last year at Miami. He still, would make some inexplicable mistakes. He certainly didn't scream number one overall to me, but here we are this season. Everybody needs a quarterback.
I'm curious to ask you about that position. We looked this up the other day, and I know you probably knew this as quick as we'd ask you it, but looking up the Seahawks not drafting a quarterback in the first round since Rick Meyer was very eye-opening for us. I think it's the third longest streak of a franchise in the NFL. If the Saints draft one, it'll be second. I know they haven't needed one every year since then, but just your curiosity of the Seahawks not being a team that's largely been drafting quarterbacks since, 1993? And does this feel like a year where maybe they take one in one of the early rounds, even though they just signed Sam Darnold?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's been a strong reluctance from John Schneider to go down that road. I mean, it is funny because I was looking through the year by year, and then the positions that they've drafted. Only long snapper and kicker, I guess, would be fewer in terms of the position that they've drafted in quarterback. And believe it or not, they did draft a long snapper once. A guy named Tyler Schmidt, I think it was. That was a Tim Ruskell pick, and Tim Ruskell remains just one of those. Just what a nightmare he was. It's funny. Every year we think Schneider might take a quarterback. He doesn't. He took Russ, obviously, in the third round in 2012, and then he took a guy named Alex Magoo in the seventh round a few years later, and that's it as far as quarterbacks. Alex Magoo, XFL, UFL, whatever the UFL is.
You make that name up, Furness?
Yeah, that sounds like a made-up name. Is this real? Do we need to fact-check this? There's a Magoo?
All of your listeners who are big fans of whatever the spring league is that's going on right now, I forget what they call it, UFL or XFL. He's a legend. I think he's still playing. I think I saw him step on the field the other day briefly. But he's never taken a guy like last year might have been a year to go down that road, grab a guy on day 2 or day 3 after the first 6 guys were drafted, and he didn't do it then either. And they just re-signed Drew Lock, brought him in as a backup for Sam Darnold. They like Lock. They were surprised that he didn't get a shot in New York. That was just an absolute gong show there. So I don't think they'll take one this year. Certainly not early. I mean, I guess the intriguing thing would be, what if Shedeur Sanders is available at 18? I can't see them going down that road. Not with Darnold, not with Drew Lock. I think there's just too much baggage there, and he's not good enough. I mean, by all evaluations, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are both guys that would have been, day 2 guys, if it was last year's draft with the other 6 guys. They wouldn't have gone in front of the 6 guys who went in the first round. So I just think it's a value. You got to find value with the quarterback. If you miss on a DB or a linebacker or something else, those guys could at least still usually play, like special teams or do something. If you miss on a quarterback, it's just a wasted pick, and Schneider has had a reluctance to do so.
Yeah, especially in this draft, it makes sense. Ian Fess, our guest, 93.3 KJR up in Seattle, the Kraken Hockey Network as well. When you look at their prospects going into this draft, what stands out in terms of need? I know Schneider had comments the other day about the offensive line, saying, well, a lot of teams in the NFL have to improve their offensive line. They haven't done a lot in that regard in the offseason, and they just traded for a quarterback who doesn't handle pressure as well as the last one did. So what stands out as needs for you now, 48 hours away from the start of the draft?
Well, it's interesting because Gino, some of the underlying numbers tell us that Gino didn't handle the pressure well either, but that's, we'll see how he handles that in Vegas. The offensive line's a weird thing, whereas the Seahawks have taken like nearly 0 quarterbacks, just 2 in Schneider's tenure since 2010. No team, I think they're the second highest number of offensive linemen drafted since 2010. Only 1 or 2 other teams have drafted more, but no one's drafted with less success than Seattle on the offensive line. Russell Okung was drafted in 2010, made a Pro Bowl in 2012. And I believe it's 24 offensive linemen have been selected by Schneider, roughly, give or take, and not one other guy has made a Pro Bowl. And a Pro Bowl these days, like the 3 of us can make a Pro Bowl. Like everyone makes a Pro Bowl, with opt-outs and everything else. So that's really kind of hard to do, is to draft that many, that volume, and have that little success. They rarely sign guys a second contract that they draft on the offensive line. They've just missed. It's been the biggest miss in terms of Schneider's tenure in Seattle is the offensive line. They haven't done much. There's a feeling that maybe with the new offense with Clint Kubiak and the zone blocking scheme and what they like to do there, that out of the guys that kind of were in the middle last year, Ola Timmy, the center, Alamea and Christian Haynes are 2 guards, Jason Sundell. They think that maybe some of those guys might actually fit this offensive scheme and this blocking scheme better, which uses a little bit more athleticism. Anthony Bradford certainly doesn't. He's just a road grader. So, yeah, I don't know. I think, they'll draft offensive linemen. They always do. It's just a matter of will they draft good ones. I mean, hell, Christian Hayes was a 3rd-round pick last year. They thought he was going to come in and start right away, and the guy was over his skis from day one. So, good times. This is a solid conversation.
I love that you're playing it out, realizing how dark and depressing these can be sometimes. Let me ask you from your perspective, and I guess the sports fans up their perspective, what's bigger on the radar this summer for sports fans in Seattle, sans football stuff, the Mariners and what they're currently doing and how that's going to go in the summer, or the prospect that Silver will finally announce expansion coming to Seattle in year blank and blank? Like what's on the radar that's bigger for Seattle sports fan?
Well, I mean, the biggest sports story that our town will ever see or has seen or could possibly see outside of the Super Bowl and stuff but the biggest story will be when, if and when the NBA returns. I don't think it's if, I think it's just when. It's hard to imagine, 41 years of having that team here, the history they have, the success they had, even at the end when they were trying not to draw fans, they're still drawing 12,000 a game. And literally they tried not to bring people. They wanted nobody to come to the games. And under Clayton Bennett, the owner of Oklahoma City now, and it's been, they left in 2008. We're coming up on 18 years of no NBA basketball in this city that was a great NBA town. And when it comes back, it'll be massive. It'll just be huge. It feels, the timeline keeps getting pushed back, guys. And I think a lot of us felt like we would see the NBA here fall of 2026. But as soon as we got, deeper into this season with nothing, that became apparent that wasn't going to happen. I think the earliest we could expect to see the NBA here would be fall of 2027. And that's just a big if they announce something, by late summer or early fall, to give, a couple of years to ramp up. You've got to get a scouting staff put together. You've got to get a basketball ops put together. the key is we have a building, and we didn't have a building before. And Key Arena was the reason they left. We can blame a lot of things, and Howard Schultz is the individual, David Stern right there as well. I don't blame Clayton Bennett as much. He bought a team to bring back to his hometown, but at the end of the day, we didn't have a building. When they opened up, they opened up Key Arena the same year they opened up the Moda Center. One was compatible for all things and was done perfectly. The other one was Key Arena, and so it was, it was such a disaster and a poor decision. Former owner Barry Ackley made sure that no hockey could be played there. Now we know that it's better to have multiple tenants than one, but they couldn't have that foresight. But yeah, when it comes up, and it's the hardest thing now is I think people finally see a true light at the end of the tunnel. That's the thing. And we know that the ownership's going to include most of the Kraken ownership, especially Sam Holloway, the primary owner. And we know what's going on. I can tell you behind the scenes that it's being worked on. It's just laughable. And Silver says, we may have some conversations with Seattle, but we haven't talked yet. Well, yes, you have. Come on, stop it. But they have to go through the formal process. I think they want to up the ante and see if there's a competition between it's Vegas, Seattle, but are there other markets that might actually push the price point higher? So, it's the NBA. They don't do things fast, and certainly there's no sense of urgency. I think there might be some pushback from some owners around the league as well. So maybe by the late summer we'll have that story. That story will be huge, guys. It'll be absolutely massive. The Mariners were just everybody's waiting for them to fail again. I mean, they're on a little bit of a heater right now.
Not down here.
The Mariners world up here is pretty simple. We don't expect good things. We can't have good things. And so even though they've won 3 or 4 straight series, we're waiting for the fall.
Well, we're hoping NBA comes to Seattle soon because that likely will mean Jody sells the Blazers. But, based on our track record, who knows how long that will actually take. Last one for you, buddy, and we'll let you go. What's up with the Kraken and Turf and coaches? We used to chop GMs down here. You guys are running through coaches up there.
Yeah, Bilesma just didn't work. I can tell you that. It just didn't work. And, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like they might retain Jessica Campbell, the first female assistant in the NHL. And so they're kind of dancing around that a little bit as much as they put into that story this year. But, Dan, Disco just didn't work, man. It just was, the team was better than it showed on the ice. There's more talent. They had some key injuries, Jordan Eberle and Vince Dunn, Joey Decor. They had some guys that were out for Yanni Gord for extended periods of time, and that hurt them. But there was no excuse for them to be that much worse than they were a year ago. And I do applaud them for this. They don't care about paying people not to work. And if it's not working, they just move on. And, it's the opposite. It's interesting because there's a very, very similar thing with the Mariners that they're doing. Now, other NHL teams, Vegas, Vancouver notably, have done the same thing, where they have a president of hockey operations. In this case, Ron Francis, the GM's getting moved, quote, upstairs into a different title. Assistant GM Jason Botterill will be more of the face, day-to-day face. He'll be the GM. So you got kind of Francis overseeing Botterill, which is a lot like DePoto and Justin Hollander with the Mariners, for example. But I think that, for the most part, Francis has put together what he could in terms of a good team. He's made a couple of bad moves, Grubauer, Andre Burakovsky, but, the draft picks, the team's still extremely young. Really, I mean, the core guys are pretty young, a lot of the good players, young guys. And I like what they're doing. I honestly, if it doesn't work, why go through a wasted season with a coach that's not going to be the guy?
Whoa.
Why would you do that? Why would you just keep running it? Why would you just keep
he won 15 more games. He won 15 more games. You have
Status quo Blazers are doing great down here, Furness.
82% chance to get the 11th pick in the draft. Why would you not extend? We made moves, baby.
All right, we got to go. We're against it.
Yeah. Let's just let you can run it back and hope for different results, or you can be stuck in the lottery every single year. And both of our teams are up here. We'll see if one pulls itself out sooner than the other.
I love it. Ian Furness,
who gets
KJR.
the finals first, the New Sonics or the Blazers?
I mean, we know the answer to that. It'll be the New Sonics. At Ian D. Furness on Twitter. Go give him a follow.
There's 10 teams. 10 teams in the West get in the playoffs, for God's sake.
That's true.
Half
the league makes it now.
Disco might still be here if they had 10 teams. NHL, he might still be here. So.
I love it. Tell Softy to enjoy the Bellevue Community College spring game this weekend. I think they're playing. Hopefully his NIL contributions are solid, and he's donating to his alma mater.
Really bowing down lately.
Always appreciate the time, buddy. Let's do it again soon. Thank you.
See you, boys. Bye-bye.
There you go. There you go. Ian Fess from KJR. Went a little long there. The Daily Ticker is brought to you by our great friends at Pelican Brewing Company. Did you know the return of warmer weather? Pelican is bringing back its summer seasonal beer. Pelicano, available in clear glass bottles. It's refreshment that you can see. Let's get to some draft chatter, and we'll do it next, including potential trades of picks on the Fan.
Who's stinking it up?
Woo! Do not go in there.
It's time for Who's Stinking It Up, a sports lowlight that's ripped from the headlines.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
Brought to you by Three Mountains Home Services. Schedule your appointment online at threemountainshomservices.com.
Yeah, good question. I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level.
We can get to this. You got Barkley audio.
How does he keep making it worse?
Why does he keep having a press conference?
Just
Sometimes
stop.
they're televised, sometimes they're not. I don't get it. Nico Harrison, GM, didn't know quite to the level how important Nico was to the fans.
Didn't quite realize the guy who sells all the jerseys and puts people in the stands and carried us to an NBA Finals last year. I didn't realize that he was beloved in this city. Who could have ever seen that coming? What a shock.
I don't live there, and I knew that. Who's stinking it up? Nico Harrison's press conference is brought to you by our great friends at Three Mountains Home Services. Hey, they got a super tune-up deal for you. They'll tune up your AC now and come back for the furnace in the fall, so you won't have to worry about it then. They're doing both for a special of only $119. 2 tune-ups, $119. Schedule online, threemountainshomservices.com, because Three Mountains Home Services make home services delightful.
Crunch time. Let's go! Where Dirt and Sprague crunch the hot topics you want to hear.
What's the pressure? Don't sit here and act like there's no... We get nervous teeing off in front of a gallery on the 10th hole at Eastmoreland.
Crunch time, brought to you by Crunch Fitness, with memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch Time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com.
Hey, Crunch Time, brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 a month. Find your Crunch Time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. We'll get to some of that audio coming up top of the hour. How does it keep getting worse? It's unbelievable. Millsack at 8:15. Your questions are welcome at the fan text line, 503-864-6326. We'll answer them coming up here in about 20 minutes. Are you ready for smokescreen season?
Oh, smokescreen season. You think this is smokescreen?
What's real? What's not? I don't know. You know what the latest report is?
I do. I saw.
Don't make us. We'll do it. We'll do it. We're getting offers.
It's a Sprague bomb.
The Browns and the Giants. Second and third overall picks out of nowhere. 2 days before the draft are saying, we might trade the picks. We could. We might trade these picks. We could trade them. Do you want this pick? Because if you want this pick, you better get on the phone and make us a good offer because somebody else is going to trade for this pick. I love the 2-day lead up to the draft. All the random crap that gets thrown against the wall.
Boy.
Are we sure this guy's healthy? Are we sure this guy doesn't love football? Are we positive about that? And now we start getting speculation on trades of the second and third overall picks.
I'm not saying they won't get traded, and I have a lot of respect for the dude that reported this morning, but Peter Schrager's new to ESPN. So if you told me a Peter Schrager, who is pretty well known by NFL diehards, but he's new to that network and those faces that watch that network, yo, can I get something?
Let's go. Give me a little juice.
And the Browns like, sure, man. We took a call once on the second pick.
Somebody offered us the 5th pick and a future second for the second pick.
You can run with that if you want.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be shocked. This is a dual favor here. This is Browns, Giants getting their team name said, trying to generate maybe some interest in a trade, although all the reporting seems to be that nobody really wants to trade up.
No.
And Schrager's new to a network, gets to go on, have a Sprague bomb, and so Schefter tweets it out, and he's all over ESPN shows. And my reporting reports.
And it's just they're taking calls. So it's not they're going to trade it or likely to trade. It's just they're taking calls.
I don't know.
Why would they not be taking calls?
It feels, well, you should always be taking calls.
Answer the phone. Somebody's calling you. I'm answering the phone.
Cleveland and New York, I'm told, they're doing their jobs.
They're doing their due diligence.
So, I hate to sound like this guy, but this just really seems like a very convenient thing for both the media member and the franchises.
It really does.
Both ways. And so I kind of see this and I say, yeah, could somebody trade it too? I guess, but I didn't need this report to think that already.
No.
This just feels like something that Peter Schrager can be at the forefront of ESPN. He just got signed to a massive deal. Hey, let's put him all over everything.
Let's get a Sprague bomb. Sprague bombs all over ESPN this morning. Did you know the second and third pick might get traded on Thursday?
Oh, my God.
I can't wait. The NFL draft right around the corner. Crunch Time brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 a month. Find your Crunch Time in Portland, Vancouver online at crunch.com. We got a lot to get to in the final hour of our fine radio program.
Mm-hmm.
We got somebody doing this.
I think I probably put my foot in my mouth.
Just over and over. Has anybody ever been better at putting their foot in their mouth than Nico Harrison? That's a good poll question for today.
You want to do that as a poll question?
I think that's a pretty solid poll question. Has anybody ever put their... I mean, that was bad. I'm not saying he's good, but he also was able to jiggle the water bottle and get out of questions. Maybe Nico needed a water bottle on the dais yesterday.
Why does he keep doing press conferences?
I don't know. I don't get it. This is the first time it's actually been recorded. We'll start there. We'll get to a little cup check tonight in the NBA playoffs. And, of course, the mail sack at 8:15. Your questions are welcome. 503-864-6326. That is the fan text line. It's a loaded final hour. Don't go anywhere. Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
KFXX, KWJJ, HD2, Portland. An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the NBA playoffs quickly heating up as Game 2s of series get going. Pistons built a double-digit lead again at Madison Square Garden. This time they held back the Knicks' comeback for a 194 victory. It ended a 17-season NBA playoff drought for just a win. Tied at 1 all going to Detroit Game 3 on Thursday. Nuggets and Clippers, 18 lead changes, 12 ties. Kawhi Leonard's final 3 of his 39 points, the difference, 105-102. They beat the Nuggets, go back to L.A. for Game 3 on Thursday. 3 more Game 2s tonight, 4 o'clock on NBA TV. Bucks trying to even things up against the Pacers in Indianapolis. Damian Lillard upgraded to questionable. He continues his recovery from a blood clot. Indy, though, a 4-point favorite. Grizzlies, 14.5-point underdogs to the Thunder. We hope for a game that close. 4:30 on TNT. And then at 7 on TNT, the nightcap in L.A. Can the Lakers respond after losing Game 1 at home to the Timberwolves? They are 6-point favorites. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live.
Hey, let's do this. Final hour. Dirt and Sprague here on Portland Sports Leader, 1080 The Fan, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app, live on YouTube.
It's so deep. It's so long.
That it is, Joe Freeman. That it is. Speaking of Brock Purdy, we're ready for him to make $50 million a year. Ooh,
50? Where are you seeing that number?
$50 million.
Let's see about that.
Mike Silver had the report yesterday. They're getting closer to a deal, and it's going to be north of $50 million a year.
Cool. Make a big mistake. Sign me up. Can't wait to hear about it. It's not Brock's fault when they don't have any talent around him.
I love the Niners dragging their feet on other contracts, too. They haven't signed George Kittle yet, who's not going to show up to offseason workouts, which I get. He's up there in age, but he's got one more year on his deal left. You could have locked him in probably at the beginning of the offseason, and now it's going to cost them more because there's another tight end contract out there that's north of what they probably would have had to pay him on a restructured deal. So,
yeah,
I digress. We got a lot to get to in the final hour of the show. Mail sack coming up here in about 10 minutes from now. 503-864-6326.
I got audio of the Shining Twins in Australia.
The Shining Twins have shown up in Australia. Let's get to this, though. First off, thanks to one of our P1s, Harley, who reminded me that we did I don't even remember what it was called, but we did like a show at a building over here this summer. Remember, and our good buddy Lockie Lockerson, Ken Barkley, made fun of it. What was the name of that?
The ABC 123 event.
Yes,
right.
That one. Whatever we were there for, doing a live show.
We didn't need to be there.
No,
PDX-XYZ or something like
sure.
that.
ABC 123.
ABC 123. Easy as. And
we didn't need to be there. It didn't even start till 9.
The only thing I remember from that was our buddy Ken Barkley coming on and just making fun of it while the speakers were playing and everybody was showing up. Like, we were just looking around like, dude, you got to please stop.
Actually,
everybody's
laughing. Everybody's funny.
Looking at us right now. I had forgotten one of the people that was at that event that we almost interviewed on the show.
No, we didn't. He was never available. We were lied to.
Nico Harrison.
We were given a list of 5 people in sports and sports business. Choose is what we were told in an email. Choose who you'd like to talk to. And every show was like, Nico Harrison,
Yeah, he was kind of the only one of relevance.
And then nobody got any guests.
We didn't get Nico Harrison.
So
He
we
did
were
not
live
come
at
on the
ADC
show.
123, and we were provided no guests.
He was given good business insight on how to handle your employees, how to run a good organization, foster a good culture.
He was coming off of a finals appearance, so
he was
fair,
riding high. He was a respected man in the sports world.
Yeah.
And now, many months later, this is what it's turned into.
I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level, but really the way we looked at it is, if you're putting a team on the floor that's Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Lively, we feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level, and that would have quieted some of the outrage. And so unfortunately we weren't able to do that, so it just continued to, go on and on.
Is he lying or is he stupid? Because it can't be either. It has to be one or the other. About Luke knowing, I knew Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't know he was that important. That's either a lie or he's the dumbest person on the planet.
I think he's that tone deaf.
No, look.
There's no middle ground there.
You cannot have had the career as a sports individual that he's had and be stupid. You cannot have run Nike and been one of the more influential shoe executives that has all these great relationships that you then parlay into one of the only 30 general manager jobs.
Not a lot of those out there.
And be stupid. But then I watched him trade Luka for that and thought, that's pretty stupid.
That's a pretty stupid trade.
Then I watched him do a press conference, and then I watched him. Well, I didn't watch him. I heard that he did a non-filmed press conference, and then I heard him, watched him again on a real press conference, and he is just batting 0 for 3 at this point. And I'm now like, he's either leaning into his lie or he is stupid.
Like, was he one of those guys that just somehow lucked his way into certain jobs over the years?
I mean,
it's hard to compute in my head.
I remember being a kid and I'd look at people in their cars as a child in the back seat and look at adults and be like, oh man, I can't wait to be that old and that smart.
Guy's got it all figured out.
And now I'm an adult who's almost 40, and I'm just realizing, watching those same cars drive past me, there's a lot of stupid people. And sometimes the stupid people end up going very far in life, basically because they know somebody.
He was also the guy who presented to Steph Curry at Nike and called him Seth, and the video was made for Kevin Durant. He was the guy that did that presentation for Nike.
Well, he was in charge of the presentation. Look,
we've had listeners who say Tiger now disowns him.
Who?
Tigard. Tigard is just, we're disowning this guy.
How are you in Dallas running the franchise and you didn't know?
He's one of the biggest faces of the league, let alone in his own market. This isn't just...
I could have told him that from Portland, I've only been to Dallas like once. I could have told him this over the phone. Don't do it, man. He is everything to that fan base. Well, I got to do it, Brandon. He likes to hookah and drink booze. All right, if you're going to do it in the summer after you sign the deal.
Yeah, field all the good
offers. And then take every phone call you can. Don't just limit it to one team in the West that you're going to play now for the next 12 years of that guy's career. I can't, Brandon. Rob and me are friends, and I really believe Anthony Davis and P.J. Washington and Klay Thompson at 35 are going to win the championship.
Somebody asked him yesterday, when you keep saying defense wins championships, you realize the Nuggets won it 2 years ago and they were the 15th ranked defense in the NBA because they had a star player who was lead offensively.
He was asked flat out, like, why should you not be fired?
Yeah, and he was like, well,
that's
look at my track record.
Question to ask a guy. And I give him credit for this. At least he's not like, he's not dehumanizing these people. He takes the question, he answers it. You don't have to like his answers. They're certainly bad, but man, I don't know if it could have gone worse. And then Charles Barkley gets on TV. Charles Barkley, who is not afraid to say anything, is friends with Nico, has known Nico for years because of Nike, and just like openly pleads with him.
Listen, man, I consider you a friend of mine, Nico Harrison. I consider you a friend of mine. I wish you nothing but the best. I thought you did a good job last year with the Mavs, and obviously whatever happened this year didn't work out. Man, don't do no more press conferences. Like, I don't even know what you're doing. I really don't. Like, I got sympathy and love for you, but I have zero idea what you're trying to do. This war is over, brother. You got to take in the L. I hope you keep your job. I hope that team get healthy. But, man, don't do any more interviews.
The other part of it with the Nico interviews, because I watched a lot of it yesterday. How could you not?
You read the Tim McMahon piece at ESPN.
Yeah. It just...
He wasn't sure if he was going to resign with the Supermax?
It just is so dumb. I mean, he was, of course, going to resign. He threw his phone when he broke his phone when he found out he was traded away from Dallas. He threw it against a wall.
It's just insane.
The other part of it, too, and this is a very cosmetic thing or, surface level thing, there's an aspect of when you're not a very confident public speaker and you've made a bad decision, it's a double negative. Like, at least if he comes out and is kind of brash and arrogant about it, it doesn't make the trade any better. Like, we dealt with that with Neil O'Shea, where he always seemed like he was the smartest guy in the room and always thought he was the smartest guy in the room, and we knew that he never was. But it makes it even worse that he's like shy, he's reserved.
He's very quiet.
He's almost like questioning himself and his own answers. Like, do you even believe the words that are coming out of your mouth right now? At least if I'm a Mavs fan, look, you made the worst trade we're ever going to see probably in the history of the NBA. But can you at least give me a little confidence and a little bravado in your answers? You get none of that. It just, for Mavs fans who were hoping the nightmare would end, it doesn't. You first had the closed door thing that the owner made him do, where only select media members were allowed in the room. No cameras, no recording devices. You can only transcribe what I'm going to say. And now we get this end-of-season press conference. They lose in the 10-seed game, or the 8-seed game, I should say.
Yeah.
And this is how your season ends.
Well, this is just like, if you go read this piece by Tim McMahon at ESPN.com, it not only highlights how they got to this place of trading Luka, and that obviously is involving agents and representation and dysfunction in that relationship. Their entire organization, seemingly with this piece, tells me they're horribly run.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a medical staff situation.
It's not good.
They misdiagnosed Derek Lively. They lost him for the season. They fired a longtime Maverick employee, which then alienated away Dirk Nowitzki. It's like, Dirk? You lost Dirk?
If you lose the guy who's got a statue in front of the building, you've done something wrong.
I just, I don't know what to make of it. It's crazy to see how, as bad as we might think things can feel here, and I know they've had more success recently, there's nothing about Dallas that makes you feel hopeful.
Well, defense wins championships, you idiot.
Right, and I'm sure next year when Kyrie comes back late part of the season, by the
12
way.
12 games to go in the regular season.
If he is back by that point. Because he's not going to be back for most of the season.
No, he's not.
So what are you doing? Anthony Davis, we need you to stay healthy for 68 games straight.
That usually ends up well.
And then if that doesn't work,
that goes well.
Klay Thompson, can you save us? PJ Washington, line 2.
Yeah.
Hey, Daniel Gafford, are you good? I don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense. He is a reason that us in the media and every sports fan that exists tells themselves on the couch, I could do that job.
I could do that job.
Because
that guy has this job, I could do the job. If he has it, I could do it.
Would have given Luka that contract.
Yes.
And if you would have even thought internally, because you see how it really is.
Hey, let's shop him this offseason.
Yeah. Even
see
if
what we can get.
Right. You are at least opening up all the lines.
Not identifying an aging star who can't stay healthy to pair with another aging star and saying defense wins championships.
And sending him to your own conference.
Buddy. A little bit of news here before we go to the mail sack. Ooh, hey. Ooh, saw this. Hey. Look at us, all this breaking news lately. It has been announced that indeed he will make his return tonight. He has risen.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard's in the lineup for Game 2 for the Bucks.
Dame
Dollar, just in time.
About to whoop the most overrated player according to a player poll via The Athletics ass tonight.
Talk about
Tyrese
the way you
Halliburton.
sound making you think you're overrated. The way Halliburton talks, he's overrated. And it's going to be fireworks. They seem to genuinely not like each other. That should be fun tonight.
I mean, when Dame acts like that, when you see
You
that
could
video,
tell.
there's something that was said.
Something brewing there.
Dame doesn't do that very often.
Does not. Tonight, Dame is back, Game 2 against the Pacers. That, I believe, is your... And I'm glad that one's on NBA TV because we all want to watch Memphis, Oklahoma City on TNT instead. Let's get to the mail sack. Your questions welcome. 503-864-6326. We'll get to them next on The Fan.
It's time for a sports injury report. The injuries and rehab that impact the success of sports teams. Brought to you by Rock Orthopedic.
No, we didn't do a lot of live stuff today, but he did everything today, so he's just progressing. He looks good.
Look at the timing on that.
How about that?
It's not Dave's fault. It's not Dave's fault. They got blown out in game 1. It wasn't Giannis's fault. He didn't have a lot of help. Dame is back tonight, so he gets his Robin to his Batman for game 2.
Yeah, I don't want to just stop at one game, but Kendrick Perkins, when they traded for Kyle Kuzma, told me Kyle Kuzma could be the third member of a championship team.
He was dominant in game 1. He was dominant. How dare you disrespect that
He dropped
stat
a
line.
Tony Snell stat line, zeros across the board in 22 minutes.
I think it was legitimately the most minutes somebody's ever played without recording a stat. I think it broke an NBA record.
I hope Dame plays well. Rooting hard for him. Giannis has been phenomenal. That roster sucks.
Sports Injury Report presented by Rock Orthopedic, board-certified specialists who diagnose, treat the widest range of orthopedic cases with care and expertise. To schedule an appointment with Dr. James Ballard, visit rocpdx.com.
Check out fan.
Hey, we had a trade in college football. Maybe we'll get to that at some point.
I mean, just
where are we at now? Well, we're trading players. Kind of. Not really, but kind of, yeah.
Does anybody care if whose player that played for the program goes to the NFL?
No.
You guys are claiming Bo Nix. He played at Auburn for 4 years. All of it's dumb.
Yeah, okay. Everything sucks. Life's over. End it. Let's get to the
it's
mail
pretty
sack.
stupid.
It's stupid.
Your team's good. If your
Yeah.
team's not good, it's really stupid.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. My team's good, so I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to keep riding this high.
Okay.
Let's get to the mail sack, shall we? See what we got today in the old sack. Mail sack question. Do you count the MLS as a major North American sport, or are they not there yet?
No, minor league.
No, they're not there yet.
Why did that take you so long to respond? You actually watch soccer. This is
I
a
do.
minor league.
They're not there yet.
No, they're not there yet. Close. They've grown a ton in popularity, but not
I
to a
don't
major
call it
sport.
minor league, though. That you won't. That's different. They're not at the level of the core four, but I don't consider it minor league.
AAA baseball.
No, it's
What do you're comping it to what? You're saying it's its own thing then? Because soccer players internationally don't view it as a major league.
Well, it's not one of the top leagues in the country.
Is
or
it even
in the world?
Is
but-
it even top 3 in the world?
No, it's not top 3.
It's jokingly written about in television shows as where the old premier players go make a ton of money and kick our ass
Yeah.
because they're old. So, what's your definition of?
It's not minor league. Not the way that it's run. That has a different connotation to it.
Yeah, I would say I think the metric that I would look at to becoming a major sport or one of the big time sports is how often you're discussed in the lexicon of sports media conversations. And I think there's a big argument that hockey's not even there in this country. If you're in a hockey market, it is. But if you're not in a hockey market, you're going up against the NBA playoffs. More people were watching Nuggets versus Clippers last night, and that's going to dominate conversations today because it was a big game, and you're not quite to that level yet, and the MLS is certainly behind the National Hockey League. So, no, you're not there yet. Mail sack question, in honor of WrestleMania this last weekend, who are your top 3 wrestlers, tag teams of all time?
Tag teams, that's a good one. Mine aren't going to be ones that had the ultimate success. So I gotta go. I gotta go. The Road Dogg Jesse James.
The Road Dogg
with the badass Billy Gunn. Okay, the New Age Outlaws. Because I just really enjoyed their intro every time, even though I didn't really aesthetically enjoy watching them wrestle that much.
No, not at all.
I gotta go Harlem Heat. I mean, just all-time intro music in WCW. Yes. No. Booker T spinning his ass up
Booker
off the
T
mat.
was pretty good.
So good. I got to think of my third one here. Give me a minute. I want
My top 3 wrestlers, I'm going to go with Undertaker was always number 1 for me.
Wait, he said tag team.
I know, I'm not doing tag teams. I can't tell you that many tag teams. I don't remember wrestling that vividly, but I can tell you my top 3 wrestlers.
Okay.
Undertaker, number 1. Clear and cut, just all-time great. The music, the darkness, the lightning. I mean, just perfect.
You could say when him and Kane partnered.
They were a tag team
They
for a
had some
little bit.
tag team matches. that
Kane
were
had his
pretty good.
moments. He's his brother. He can't talk. He's got a mask on, and then the mask comes off. Kind of a weird storyline. But Undertaker, number 1. Stone Cold pounding beers to John 3:16 T-shirts. Just all time. Stone Cold in his jean shorts. Big Stone Cold guy. And then randomly, I'm going to give you an outlier there at number 3 because there's a handful of guys you can go with. I was always randomly a Sting guy.
Is like the WCW Sting or like the WWF Sting?
WWF Sting. I was a WWF
so like the
Sting
frosted blonde hair
Yes.
with the okay.
Yeah, I was a big Sting guy when I was a kid. Those are my top 3 wrestlers.
Tag team.
I wasn't quite. I mean, the Hogan
the
stuff
Dudley
I always
boys.
remember. But
The Dudley Boys are probably also in my top.
Dudley
I'm going
Boys
for
are good.
entertainment purposes. You
Okay.
can give me success, whatever that is.
yeah, I don't know what success is.
I do find conversations on sports radio about WrestleMania fascinating.
It's going on, man. When you have a partnership, you're going to talk about it. That's, I guess, the benefit. ESPN has talked more about WrestleMania this week than the Stanley Cup playoffs, which is, not lovely to my ears.
They
but
were doing
to some, it is.
They were doing post WrestleMania match
They were.
press conferences.
They were press conferences, breaking it down. Who won the title, the belts, who's got the belt, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Mail sack, would you rather take a dump on a toilet that's too small or take a dump on a toilet that's so tall that your feet don't touch the ground? I'm about 6 feet in my old apartment. I had a toilet where my feet barely touched the ground, and I absolutely hated it. To be 6 foot and not have your feet touch the ground with the toilet, that's a pretty big
throne.
That's a big toilet. I would much rather, though, have too big of a toilet than too
Yeah.
small of a toilet.
Yeah, too big versus too small.
Look, there's many places where my feet don't touch the ground.
Get a footstool or something like that.
You get a squatty potty. Put your feet up
yeah.
on the squatty potty. You'll be okay.
But too small is horrible.
Too small, not being able to fit. It's uncomfortable. It's tight. It's awkward. Nobody wants to deal with that. Mail sack question: what is the best, most non-traditional or out-of-shape starting five you can make? I'm assuming this means NBA if it's starting five.
Most
non-traditional, out-of-shape starting five in the NBA. I mean, Jokic is in there. He's just a non-traditional body weight, but he's shockingly athletic.
But you think he's out of shape?
I wouldn't say out of shape, but I would say he's
mean like guys
non-traditional.
playing right now or like all time?
All time. He's all time.
Oliver Miller's on that list for me.
Oliver Miller's there.
James Harden trying to get out of Houston is on this list.
Fat bodysuit James Harden, certainly. A guy who was demanding a trade, and they wouldn't trade him. He said, well, I'm just going to get really fat then. See what you do.
Shaq in Phoenix.
Shaq. I mean, Zion is this. Zion, when he's healthy, is a dominant player. He just can't stay healthy because he's out of shape.
Would you trade for him?
Yes, I would in a heartbeat.
You're still pro Zion, huh?
Pro Zion in a heartbeat.
I am out on that.
Especially with the 14th overall pick in the NBA draft loading in a couple of weeks.
I'm out. If that's all it takes, then I'm in.
Sure, yeah.
It's that and like 2 more picks and another player.
I mean, if you can be the 11th seed in the West, why not be the 11th seed in the West
his
next
career
year?
spotting up in the corner, Dennis Scott.
I'd add Charles Barkley to that, too.
Barkley? Yeah,
Barkley
Barkley's
on the
pretty
Rockets
good.
was not amazing.
It's a pretty good one. Mail sack question, Dirt. My wife wants to know why I keep going around the house the last couple of weeks yelling pimento cheese. Well, I mean, because it's a delightful sandwich, and it's the best tournament on earth. That's why.
Killer mayonnaise, too, right, Swag?
Pimento cheese! Mail sack question. Would
Mayo
Swag
man.
ever, speaking of Mayo, would Swag ever go to the Mayo Clinic for health care?
Sure.
Okay. Just wondering.
He
wondering
likes
where the
Mayo now.
Wondering where the Mayo cuts off.
Why? Well, apparently he doesn't even know because he likes it.
Mail sack question. Couple weeks late, but what would your Masters Champions dinner menu be? I get this one a lot.
Yeah, this is a pretty common one.
I'd go. I mean, some sort of. I'd go tomahawk steak, probably. Each getting their own. Gary Player finished that damn thing, you old bastard. Let's see. You got to go some sort of vegetable. I'd probably go with, you can tell me however you want to cook it, some form of I'm a big asparagus guy. I love me some asparagus.
Love grilled asparagus.
Love grilled asparagus. Maybe a mac and cheese side because let's weigh everybody down week of the tournament. Appetizers, give me some fried calamari. I know none of this goes together. I don't care. It's my master's menu. I love fried calamari. It's probably my favorite appetizer. And then some sort of chocolate thing for dessert.
I'm probably going a strawberry shortcake with a vanilla custard with it for the dessert. You got to have veggies on there. I mean, that's mashed potatoes. So definitely put some mashed potatoes on that plate.
Mashed potatoes!
I'd be torn on the protein here. I don't think I'd do chicken, but man, fried chicken would be amazing.
Fried chicken's pretty good.
Fried chicken's pretty good.
Bubba Watson has the worst menu of all time. Bubba Watson,
Not even close.
I think legitimately just did
he did it twice.
Grilled
didn't
chicken
he?
breast. It's like, what?
I think he did the same menu the second time.
Just pop it out of the bag, throw it on the grill. We even seasoning that thing as a certain kind of. I was just like grilled chicken breast.
I would do fried chicken. I'm doing mashed potatoes. I'm doing a real southern biscuit of some sort since I'm in Georgia.
Well, I like a good biscuit.
And then maybe I alter my
biscuit.
strawberry sundae to like a Georgia peach
cobbler or something.
kind of cobbler with vanilla custard.
Okay, that's not bad. Not a bad menu.
I would have some version of surf and turf.
Oh, and an Arnold Palmer to drink. We got to pay respects to Arnie.
Arnie Parmies?
Yeah, Arnie Parmies.
Yeah, some version of surf and turf steak, and probably scallops would be my surf.
Now, what kind of what cut of steak are we going with? You can't just say steak. What are we going with?
I would probably do a center cut ribeye. I wouldn't do the full tomahawk. I'd probably do a center cut ribeye.
Wouldn't want the fatty part on there?
A little bit.
I want to see Craig Stadler in there eating it off the bone, you know, picking that thing up at the end. He's the only one that finishes.
Yeah.
Craig, calm down, man. Jesus.
And then some sort of seared scallop, maybe a citrus butter to go with it.
Okay.
And then probably appetizers. Probably some sort of like crab cake, something seafoody.
Oh, I didn't even think of appetizers.
Yeah, you gotta have an appetizer.
Deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs are good. I love deviled eggs. God,
I would
could
do
eat 80 of them.
Onion rings and deviled eggs.
Oh, it's good. It's right up my
Dude, I think
alley.
I got a killer meal.
That's a good.
I
that's
do a
good meal.
traditional spinach salad with warm bacon dressing, mushrooms, red onion,
You wouldn't have a tossed salad.
hard-boiled eggs.
No,
We do that. Grilled asparagus. Love grilled asparagus. I would do roasted red potatoes.
How many things are on your menu?
This is a long menu
naming
now.
Yeah,
things.
and then
7 courses here.
And then I would have tiramisu for dessert.
Tiramisu.
Coffee dessert.
Ooh. A couple more quick ones. Millsack, if someone's buying you lunch, something like a sandwich place, and you aren't able to order there, do you get something basic because they're ordering for you, or do you go fully customized order?
You can't get something there.
So essentially somebody's saying, hey, I'm running to a place to get lunch. It's
Yeah.
a sandwich shop. What do you want? Do you write down, make sure it's pickles, no banana peppers, please put tomatoes. I want salt and pepper.
Oh,
Maybe you go a full descript
no.
menu order, or you
No,
just
no,
say, give me the turkey sandwich.
Give me the closest thing to what an Italian sandwich
Yeah, I
that they
think that's-
have,
yeah.
and I'll take anything that's on it.
Make it easy for them. Same
Come
thing
on.
with coffee orders. Don't make me remember a 17-word coffee
Vanilla
order.
latte, make it super
Sure.
easy. I just want the
Unless-
caffeine.
Mocha,
if I
you want
can't-
Americano? What do you want?
Right.
If I can't look on the menu to see if there's something, I'll probably pass at that point.
Not just
'cause
like a
otherwise-
turkey sandwich?
Damn, really?
I'm again, stick mayonnaise on it. Don't like tomatoes on my sandwich.
But I'll put mayonnaise
I'm
on it, you won't
very
know it.
particular about
If it's at
about-
Subway, like if you're going to any sort of Jersey Mike's, Subway, think of any sandwich
Chains,
shop, any sort of
yeah.
chain. There's a sandwich in your head that comes without mayonnaise.
Yeah, but what else is on it? I hate pickles. I hate tomatoes on my sandwich.
You can't pick those off?
I pickles infect the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, with the brine, it's awful.
Yeah, but you had mayonnaise and you liked it.
No, I didn't.
You did.
You did.
You
You
ate
liked the
sandwich.
pimento
You
cheese.
ate the mayonnaise.
Don't backpedal
happened.
here on that. We watched it.
One more quick one, man. Most dangerous sport to be a referee in after watching some playoff hockey. It's hard for me to not pick them. Middle
Yeah.
judge on an NFL field, home plate umpire, or soccer because of the psycho fan.
no,
This,
it's
for me,
it's
is
hockey.
baseball.
You think baseball?
Dude, I just watched an ump take a 105-mile-an-hour ball that was batted right to the head. I don't know how he didn't die.
Yeah, behind home plate,
No, first base.
first baseman, or first base line.
Those things are going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, they are.
And they have, don't the referees in hockey have helmets?
They do have helmets.
They do.
There's talk now in MLB, because this has happened a couple times this season, that they might start wearing what the base coaches wear.
I mean, it makes sense to put a little helmet on them.
They have nothing.
Give them the John Olerud.
Yeah,
You know,
something.
Give him something
Dude,
to protect him.
should see that hit. He took it bad to the head.
There you go. There's your mail sack every Tuesday at 8:15. Let's get to a couple of notes out of the college football world. We'll get you set for your night in sports, and we'll do it all next. But now it's time for us with a update.
This is Draft Week with Dirt and Sprague.
Brought to you by A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, what a night of Stanley Cup playoff action. 2 overtime games, including Alex Ovechkin in his 46th playoff overtime game, getting his first overtime winner, 3-2 over the Canadiens. And then the evening ended with the Stars rallying, and they even things up with the Avalanche 4-3. Not to mention the Oilers tying up the Kings with 2 goals in the final 5 minutes of regulation before the Kings get the game winner in the final minute.
I'm not one of those people scared of mice, but they will startle me. Didn't know this about rats. Don't really like rats. Kind of get ugh when I look at a rat. You know, rats are just as good a pet as a dog. They're loyal. They're intelligent. They can learn tricks. They can memorize phrases that you give them. And get this, they laugh when you tickle them.
What does a rat sound like when it laughs? I now want to hear a rat laugh.
I got it right here.
You got one? Yeah. I had that in my head. Game 7 tonight in Everett. The Winterhawks on the road, looking to win their second Game 7 on the road so far in these short, young WHL
Didn't you do
playoffs.
this yesterday?
No, I did not do this yesterday. I did a baseball stat yesterday. Thanks for listening. They play Game 7 tonight in Everett on the road with a chance to go to the conference finals in a year that was supposed to be a rebuild. Game 7 tonight. You can watch it on Victory Plus.
There you go. More playoff hockey and laughing rats in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back. The Fan.
All right, we'll get you set for the night in sports. Lots going on tonight again. It's a wonderful time of year.
I got one that I didn't get to.
Yeah.
I forgot to check our Blue Sky account on social media from one of our listeners who was also looking for name polling to do as well.
Okay.
So maybe I'll put that one up just to the shout out to the listener. He asked Mailsack, expecting the first kid, what's your best tips for the hospital stay?
Oh, God.
Be ready not to sleep.
Yeah, you're not going to sleep.
That's what I would say.
It's horrible.
It's terrible.
I don't know if there's any, I mean.
We were there for one night. I don't think we were there for 2 nights. I think we were there one night.
We might have been there 3 nights.
Maybe I'm totally misremembering this. I think we were a one-night situation.
It definitely wasn't, because Teddy was born late. He was born at like 11 o'clock. So that night we were obviously there. No sleep was had.
Be prepared to sleep on a chair
Night
of some
2.
sort with an ottoman.
It was funny that I had very different feelings from my wife after he was born, because she was obviously, she went through a lot more than I did. I don't know if you know this during childbirth. It's much more difficult for them than it is for us. Although we do have to sleep on a very uncomfortable couch. Underrated. I could not wait to get home.
Yep.
And I understand the vibe of some people who I've talked to who have had kids say that they desperately wanted to stay because there's people there to help, and if you have questions, and there's nurses, and you have no clue what the hell you're doing.
Down to the nursery.
Nothing in life prepares you for changing that first diaper when he starts screaming after he's born, especially, or she, after he's like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. This isn't a basketball. It's moving and it's screaming and it's tar. I don't know what's happening right now.
The tar is so
it's so bad. I couldn't wait. I was so aggressive in trying to get out of that hospital. I mean, you doing okay, babe? Can you move? Let's take a couple of laps. Can you walk? All right, I'll go get the bed. Let me get the bag. I'll go get the car. I'll get home. I could not wait to get out of it. It is so miserable trying to go to sleep in that place.
I hated it.
So yeah, that's what I. There's
I think I
nothing
slept
to
an hour, to be honest with you, which is
It's
like
awful.
I'll take sleeping an hour versus having to do what my wife did.
Yeah, no, that's a fair trade-off. Very little sleep had, or having a baby come out of your body. I think I would prefer the very little sleeping, but take some snacks. Outside of that.
Yeah, the hospital food's okay.
Hospital food's
I don't
fine.
mind hospital food.
It's not a lot.
I kind of get excited to go to a cafeteria, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful moment and a horrible moment simultaneously.
Yes.
And so just embrace it. That's kind of all you can do. We had quarterback trade in college football. Joey Aguilar, who I'd never heard of before, but evidently he was at Appalachian State, transferred to UCLA in the winter transfer portal. He's going to be UCLA's starting quarterback this year.
Whoops, not anymore.
Not so fast. Nico Iamaleava transferred from Tennessee to UCLA.
So did the other Iamaleava.
Yeah, the brother Iamaleava.
I didn't know he was in college.
Was committed to UCLA until signing day, flipped to Arkansas at the last second, signed with Arkansas. Now his brother's going to UCLA, and then yesterday he entered the portal and went to UCLA.
Talk about tag teams.
Tag teaming at UCLA, and Joey Aguilar, who was at UCLA, has now transferred to Tennessee. And I've seen many people make the same, like wherever the stars align. This is why we need college football scheduling out of thin air. We should be creating the schedule
UCLA,
right
Tennessee.
now. UCLA, Tennessee. UCLA at Tennessee. Nico's got to go back. I
Has to
need
be
my
a road
Luka
game.
return game.
Yep.
I need my LeBron return game. And instead, they'll never play each other. But
would the dad go to the
it'd be
game? I think he would, because he'd want to make it about him.
He definitely would.
But also,
He definitely would.
it just means more.
They threw golf balls at Lane Kiffin and mustard bottles.
Yeah.
Head on a swivel there in Knoxville. That's all I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's your college football update. Also some other dumb stuff going on, but it's college football. They're always doing dumb
We can
stuff.
do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we got some more in the notes tomorrow. Let's wrap it up. It's another wonderful night in the world of sports. We'll get you set with your cup check. The NBA playoffs. Dame is returning. If you're just joining us, that's the big news in the NBA world. We'll preview Game 2 of that series. Wrap it up on your Tuesday next on The Fan. Well, the playoffs roll on tonight in the NHL and in the NBA. A total of 7 playoff games tonight. Catch the fever. It all starts at 3. You get Devils and Hurricanes, Game 2 of that series. Carolina pumped them in Game 1. It's on ESPN. My Toronto Maple Leafs are on at 4:30 on ESPN 2. This is the year Maple Leafs bring home the cup. You heard it here first.
You're telling me all these games. I have no idea which team's the better team.
Well, the Hurricanes are better than the Devils. They should win that series easily. They won Game 1 easily.
Okay.
The Maple Leafs killed Ottawa in Game 1.
Okay.
They should run away with that series, but, it's Toronto, and they usually do stupid things come playoff time.
Right.
Tampa and Florida, they play Game 1 tonight. They haven't even started their series. Game 1, the Battle of Florida, tonight at 5:30. They have, I believe, identical, very similar records on the season.
Yeah,
should
that
be a
one's-
tight, even
that
match series.
should be a long series.
Should be a 7-gamer. And then Vegas and Minnesota. Vegas killed them in Game 1. They should probably run away with that series as well.
Is Vegas looking to get their second cup in
They
like
could.
5 years?
They got a great chance at it, man. They're a wagon again this year. So those are your 4 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs for your hashtag cup check for tonight. The big news in the NBA, well, you kind of get twofold. OKC Memphis, just nobody cares. I'm going to go ahead and bet the minus 14.5 because why not? You get Lakers and T-Wolves as the nightcap on TNT. Should be a better game, I would imagine. Minnesota's not going to shoot 50% from 3 again. See what kind of response the Lakers have to not fall down 0-2 at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then Milwaukee looking to, again, save face after the way they played in Game 1. Finally getting Dame and Giannis healthy for a playoff game for the first time, right? Together? Because Giannis missed, I believe, the entire playoffs last year.
Yeah, because Dame, they won it. They lost in 6, and I know Dame played in a couple of those games.
But I don't think Giannis played in any, right? If I remember correctly.
Don't believe so.
So for the first time in the very short Dame Giannis era, we get them in a playoff game together.
I just want to see if Dame's going to have a little bit of that old school Blazer Dame, Russell Westbrook Thunder series Dame.
You very well could.
Because Halliburton looked like he had drove him to that point. Took him to a dark place during the end of that game.
They were chirping. That was an ugly game, and I'm sure Milwaukee was embarrassed by the way that they played. Having him back in the lineup, we'll see. I mean, it depends on how effective he's going to be, but he's been ramping up activities for a while. It seems like it's like a modern, medicine miracle based on the way that people are talking about this blood clot stuff getting identified, cleared out, and cleared. Usually these things, when they happen, you're shut down for not a year, but for whatever the rest of the season is. And that was the thought when he went down, was this is going to end his season potentially, and it might be the end. Now, they could still lose. Maybe he doesn't play well. He's been rusty, whatever. Maybe Indiana still wins the series, and it is the end in Milwaukee, but it at least gives them I don't know what the line moved. Right now, Indiana's favored by 4.5. I'm not sure how much it moved based on this news. It gives them at least a puncher's chance in my head of Milwaukee can win this series now.
Yeah,
not going a long run because the rest of the roster's got issues.
If he's not too out of shape, and that's the thing, is basketball shape.
Yes.
What's he going to look like? But again, we've seen a very hyper motivated Dame before be able to do things that are just remarkable. I'm not ready to eliminate that possibility for him today.
Yeah, should be fun. That one's on NBA TV, and we get Lakers T-Wolves. Do we get a tied series there? Does Anthony Edwards and T-Wolves do it again?
I don't know, man. The Lakers got to play defense. You can't leave shooters open the way that they did. And I know people have been talking about LeBron and Father Time. He wasn't spectacular in that Game 1. So
the question is, do McDaniels and Reed fire threes at that rate?
Does Austin Reeves do something? I mean, that'd be nice.
He's supposed to be number 3.
Yeah, he borders on a number 2 at times when LeBron can look old. So Luka, I would imagine, shows up. We'll see what adjustments JJ makes, how much their effort improves defensively. I mean, to think that McDaniels and Reed are going to...
Not going to happen. They're not going to shoot 50%. They're not doing that again.
But it might be
and Edwards could play better.
It might be like the Clippers. The Harden numbers go down, but Kawhi's go up.
He has an unbelievable game.
Maybe Reed McDaniels go down and Ants go up.
Because he was fine. I mean, he was good in Game 1, but he wasn't dominant by any stretch. And part of that was by defensive design by L.A.
Yeah.
Be curious to see how that plays out. That should be a fun one tonight, 7 o'clock. The playoffs are here. It's that time. Every night you go home, it's just like, 10 games I got to watch tonight. It's going to be awesome. Another great night, and the NFL draft is right around the corner. And that will do it for us. We went to Seattle for the Daily Ticker. Ian Fess joined us to talk a little Seahawks draft plans, NBA expansion, and a little bit of Kraken as well. So you can go catch that 1080thefan.com at Dirt and Sprague and at 1080thefan. Tomorrow, Sam Morrill, comedian's going to join us.
Yeah, he's a up-and-coming comedian who's been in the scene for a minute. He's got some really great stand-up that you can go find on YouTube and all the streamers. And he'll be in Portland in early May. He's a diehard Knicks fan. So we can talk a lot of sports with him tomorrow
We've
morning.
had fun to have him on tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, watching on YouTube. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Calling us next. Listening to 1080 The Fan.